you have to train that subconscious mind to be the proprietor of those thoughts, because if you just allow thoughts to seep in and allow self-doubt to be present, what happens is it creeps into every walk of everything, and so that doubt becomes present regardless of what it is that you're doing. Whereas me, it's like, when I've said I'm going to go and break a world record in bench press, people are looking at me like, shut up. No, you're not. You're nowhere near it. And to that I say, fucking watch. No problem. Like, just watch. Because trust me, I have no doubt. I 110% believe that I will break a world record in bench press. There's no doubt in my head. And not only do I believe that, I think my kids and my kids' kids and my kids' kids' kids will tell stories about me. I'll have a legacy. I know I will. I know that. You know, we can look into a darker side here, I suppose, is I used to have a severe gambling addiction. And it happened through COVID. So what happened was, I suppose the following that I have, you know, I meet people every day, everywhere I go, people like, yo, you're the gym reaper, gotta take a picture, etc. And you know I do, but how hard would it be if I had to kind of switch up persona every time I met someone?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And be someone else. It's not who I am, and I'd rather not. And I think the good thing is that I know now that people like me for me, so I'm never going to be in a position where I've got to try and be someone else.
Today's episode was an absolute blast. To be honest, I've still got a face ache from the amount of talking today that we've done. But Josh Baker is a very, very interesting person. We've gone into a lot of depth about stuff. And if I'm honest, you'll see in the episode anyway, I learned a hell of a lot about the, like the gambling side of life and the gaming side of life. For you guys listening, hopefully it's interesting for you as well. But I never knew that world was so big, should I say, and how much money's involved in that. And he spoke about how he was addicted to gambling and how he got out of it. His mindset, I want to say, is a very, very, very powerful mindset for a young person, if you like, and who's had quite and he said it himself, who's had quite a simple life. He's meeting people that are the top of their game in the strength world, and he's got a massively successful career already, but also a very exciting career that's going forward. I love the fact that I've met him, and he's an awesome guy. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. We went into a lot of depth. The man can talk, and actually today, as it speaks, I'm like 6 litres in out of 8 litres that I'm water loading, so it was a good job he could talk lots today, because I didn't have much in me, as I'm just prepping for Europe's at the moment. So I'm cutting my food down and I'm pushing my water on. But no, it was a hell of an episode. As always, guys, I really, really appreciate the feedback. And so far the reach and feedback and the downloads has been amazing. So please keep it going. Please keep sharing. Make sure you subscribe so you get all the next episodes that come up. Okay, so welcome into the next episode then. I have I'm going to say a very big friend sitting in front of me. I actually asked him, I said, do you want to change the seat? And it's a good job he's not sensitive.
No, I'm not. I mean, I feel comfortable. I feel good.
In a minute, it just goes...
No. You know what? I always say this. When I say weight restrictions on stuff, I'm like, I'll test that.
I'm here for you.
We'll see.
I got you.
Because I always just think, you know what? Like, it's like, when you use like a machine, and then you stress the machine, because everyone's like, oh, you can't put more than that on the cable. I'm like, actually, we'll see. We'll see.
I'll tell you if we can.
It's like people say, like, the safe working load for like a hammer strength machine. It's like, what? It says 5 plates aside. Okay, we can definitely put 10 aside.
25.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
do you ever walk over them things that are glass? You know that, like, obviously it's the floor. Like, it's a floor, isn't it? But it's glass.
No, I've not tried that.
Come on, you gotta be like, oh shit.
I don't know if I'd do that. I don't know. I don't think I'd do that. You won't catch me at the top of that Blackpool Tower doing that. Nah.
That's your limit.
Yeah, that's my limit.
So today, though, I've got Josh. Should I call you Joshua or Josh?
Either, mate. Josh.
Josh.
Most people call me Baker, but you can call me whatever you want, mate.
So Josh Baker. We've actually not been friends very long.
No.
Met at Doc Imran's I was going to call it a boudoir then, but, you know, the HQ of Doc's place. But and also, obviously, I noticed you had a silverback top on the day, didn't I? So that was the
the thing. Yeah,
that was the link. But Josh, tell us, you know, for the people who don't know you, tell us who you are and what the hell you do, man.
Yeah. So my name is Josh Baker. I'm 28 years old. Coming from a little place called Tipton, which is just by, you know, outskirts of West Bromwich kind of thing. And I suppose the best way to put it is I'm most known now for humbling divvies on the internet with gym lifts. But yeah, I've been going to the gym for about 6 years. 6.5 going on to 7. I need to get rid of that 6 because it's just I've been saying that for so long.
It's just stayed there. Has it been one of them COVID ones that just lose that period in life?
Yeah, you lose that. I mean, technically, do you know what? If we're going to put it like that, then it is 6. Because all through COVID, I didn't train at all. I had no access to a gym.
Really?
Yeah. So from March 2020, quite literally, I didn't touch. I want to say I touched my first session in November 2020, and that was in Foundry Dudley. I did a chest day, and then they shut gyms again. I want to say about 2-3 weeks later because they opened and then closed them again. And I want to say I got another session in Foundry in West Brom. So I probably got 2 sessions in a year, something like that.
You had to be a part of like a proper deep click, didn't you, to get injured?
Don't get me wrong, there was a couple of gyms that like I could go to, but they were just like the distance to travel and stuff.
Yeah.
And there was gyms I knew that I could go and get in. I won't say the names, obviously, but you know, it was just.
Is that what were you doing there? Were you painting or cleaning? What was it? What was it?
Yeah.
Everyone was, they got caught in there.
Yeah.
But you know,
there was places I could have gone, but I wasn't going to make those kind of travel commitments at the time, especially because there was that whole like where are you travelling to kind of thing, where are you going? Do you know what I mean? Because they love controlling everything we do. So I couldn't really train. But yeah, for everyone that, you know, most people that do know me as the Gym Reaper. That's the online persona that I have.
Why the name as well? That was one thing I wanted.
Why Gym Reaper?
Yeah.
So I take no ownership of this. You know, it's not me. I never thought of this. So I always remember doing, and where it came from was I did a TikTok back in like kind of early December maybe, maybe late December, actually early Jan. And basically, this kid had done a video saying if your man can't bench 100 kilo, like he's your girlfriend, basically.
Yeah. So
just making him out to be a girl, and like I've always been one that like everyone that knows me, like I'll train with people that bench 50 kilo, or you bench 300 kilo. I don't care what you bench. My commitment, my concern is how motivated and how disciplined you are on what it is you're doing. I don't really care what your result is at the time. It's just whether you work hard. Do you know what I mean? And that's how I look at you. So I'll train with anyone if you're willing to work hard. But I don't understand that concept of trying to put someone else down because they're at a different part of their journey to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did a video where I was just like, basically I just duetted the video, put a clip of me doing like 100 kilo on one arm on incline on the barbell, and was like, you're my girlfriend now, do you know what I mean? Like, shut the fuck up kind of thing. And it blew up. Like, it did like probably a couple million views in like a couple of days, and I was like, damn, like what? Maybe that's something I can get into. Was like this, because clearly there's an audience for it. People like it. And then I want to say I uploaded maybe 2 or 3 more that were like that in that week, because obviously once it starts going up, my head's just like, and I suppose you mentioned it before we started about like, you know, getting attached to something straight away. I was like, right, well, let's do this more. So I did it more and more, and after a few days, like there was comments coming up that were like, "This dude is the Gym Reaper," and I was like, "That sounds sick. Like that sounds so good." So I was like, "What a cool persona to have!" As like, you know, I am the Gym Reaper, like, and you know, if you act like a knob in the gym, like I'm gonna come for you, kind of thing, and that's how it was treated. So I just kind of adapted it straight away. So I changed my name on TikTok. I want to say I changed my name on TikTok maybe when I had about, I don't know, like 50,000 followers. And from there, it's just grew tenfold, Crazy how fast
TikTok's one of your main platforms.
So TikTok's like my main platform, I mean, IG, admittedly, I didn't really push. You know, I think IG was an avenue that I didn't realise has so much potential. Do you know what I mean? I never cared for IG. I've always had an IG account, you know, probably 12, 13, 14 years. But it's always just been crap that I've posted on there. Do you know what I mean? Or whether it's like a picture of a burger from 10 years ago, you name it. I never used the account, do you know what I mean? I still remember posting like fucking pictures in a Henley's top from like back in the day, and like with fucking grey like neon coloured sunglasses on, just being like that. So you know there was awful pictures on there, but I didn't realise how influential that platform is, and not only that, but how crucial it is to business as well. Do you know what I mean? And to like sponsors and to just your growth as a name. So TikTok is definitely my biggest platform. You know, I'm just about to hit. I think I'm about 10,000, 15,000 followers away from 1.3 million. it's growing well, but it's crazy how fast it grew. Because
TikTok is such an easy platform, isn't it?
It's an easy platform, but you have to find. I say easy, like. So,
no, I mean easy to follow. Yeah, not easy, not
easy
necessarily
to follow.
Yeah,
absolutely. So the thing with TikTok is, and I think a lot of people overcomplicate it. But it's like people ask me all the time about, what should I do, what should I upload, content wise. Like, I don't overthink anything. Like my content is always like, there was a video uploaded yesterday. It's done like 2 million views already. I uploaded it while I was having a shit, and I literally sat on the toilet, pulled my phone out, recorded me having a shit. Responded to someone that had said something, and I was like, I'm responding to you at the most appropriate place, which is while I'm taking a shit, mate. And it's done 2 million views in a day. And the thing is, what I did and what I knew I was doing too much at the start was I stressed too much the content. I was like, damn, how can I be more creative? How can I do this? How can I do that? And what I find is when you stress the creativity part, you lose your personality. You start to strip away who you are because you're trying to conform to something that you want to be. So I was just like, just be me, just post who you are. And now I don't pressurize the content. Do you know what I mean? So now I just post whatever's on my mind in that moment. And 9 times out of 10 it does well. Do you know what I mean?
You know what you're saying there as well. Just to dig into that on another level, like so many people now are not themselves, are they?
No.
And it's. Do you know what? And I'll even say this myself. It's a battle to not get sucked into that. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't you find? Because it's like what you're saying there, and I love to hear that because you're just talking the truth, saying stop trying to be someone else. You are the best person when you're yourself, right? We all know that. However, it's so hard in this, sort of like whirlwind that the world's in, if you want to put it like that, of people just faking stuff and acting stuff and pretending to be someone else, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think what's happened now is, I think especially the way the world and society is going, it's shameful to be masculine. It's almost like masculinity is being pushed away.
Yeah.
But and it's not okay to be open if you are masculine. However, if you're anything else, then by all means we push that through and we encourage it.
Fucking
and
insane.
you know what? Like each their own, but to diminish masculinity and always degrade it as something else, call it misogyny, call it whatever you want. No, it's none of those things. That's the problem now, is we shadow masculinity as misogyny and we call it misogyny. It's not. No. Being masculine was never misogynistic. Do you know what I mean? It was just being prideful and being a man.
Yeah, but now it's looked at in that way, isn't it? Yeah.
So, but like, and I think that's one thing that like a lot of my following, kind of connects with me, is that they know I'm myself, and that's all I can be. I don't care enough to pretend to be something that I'm not. It'd be too much of an upkeep. Do you know what I mean? When you grow, I suppose the following that I have, I meet people every day, everywhere I go. People like, yo, you're the gym reaper, gotta take a picture, etc. And I do. But how hard would it be if I had to kind of switch up persona every time I met someone? Do you know what I mean? And be someone else. It's not who I am, and I'd rather not. And I think the good thing is that I know now that people like me for me. So I'm never going to be in a position where I've got to try and be someone else. I can just be me. Do you know what I mean?
But that also, obviously, being you gets a lot of hate, doesn't it? Because quite simply, again, looking at what I was saying a minute ago about that filtrations thing, there's no filter, so actually that's a positive thing. But then some people try and be like, but you should filter stuff. It's like, why? You shouldn't have to do that.
It's like a lot of people dislike my confidence.
Yeah.
They excuse it for arrogance. It's not. It's a completely different thing, and I think that's the problem now. I think the direction that we're going in is, because the world's getting so soft, pure self-belief is now being completely misread to be arrogance, and it's not. The different, just because I believe in myself and my ability, doesn't mean that I am cocky or this or that or arrogant. It just means that I believe in myself. And what it shows now is it shines a light on just how accepting people are of mediocrity. Because the moment if you're confident nowadays, if you're masculine and confident now, you're frowned upon. And you're called cocky and arrogant. But actually all that tells me is that you're just too comfortable being average. You have no self-belief. Because I have self-belief, you don't like it. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting journey. The last, TikTok for me has been crazy journey. I suppose the most core thing I'm going to give to myself is, it's the first real display of consistency from me. I've done loads of different things, committing myself to weird different stuff over the last kind of 10 years. And I suppose one thing about me is I do have an addictive personality. So
that served you well in that aspect,
So when, whether it be gym, whether it be gaming or streaming, you name it, kind of podcasting, anytime I've started something, I've absolutely grabbed it and then gone hard at it. But or at least I have a tendency to, I suppose I do have a tendency when I do get committed to those things, is I'll go so hard that I burn out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, saying that with TikTok, I started to sense it a little. So, because I was going through the first kind of 4 months of me blowing, I was doing 4 a day, 5 a day, and it was, you know, creative as I can, creative as I can, creative as I can, creative as, you know, try and put stuff out 4 times a day, and it was getting to a point where I was like, you know, I'm sitting on my settee, scratching my head, and I'm stressing. I'm like, God, what am I going to upload? What am I going to upload? Got to find something. And that's why now I'm just like, take all that away, man. Just be you.
Yeah. If you feel like doing one, do one. If you don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what I do say is, I'll always do at least 1 a day.
Yeah.
I'll always upload at least 1 a day, and then at least I've got the whole day to just consider what I'm going to upload. And, you know, if it gets late, it might be something basic. If, you know, so a lot of the time now what I do is I have like a note file on my phone, and I could be laying in bed at 2 in the morning, just bang an idea in there, because it'll come to my head, and the next day I'll go, what have I got? Okay, let's do that. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, if we go back to January the 1st, I said, my goal this year was my New Year's resolution was to hit 100,000 followers on TikTok. I had about 8,000, 9,000 at the time. And I was like, yeah, goals to hit 100k this year, 2023. And then I just said that my goal was consistent, so I'd just post once a day, no matter what, no matter how I feel, or, you know, whether I've had a bad day, I've got to post no matter what, got to stay consistent. So I was posting every day, and then obviously, like I said, early Jan was when those kind of good videos happened for me, where I was like doing those kind of humbling episodes. And I remember on Jan 24th, or 22nd, I did a video, and I was like, thank you guys for 50k followers, like, so much, blah, blah, blah. Crazy how fast we're growing. And then I want to say about 5 days later, I was like, yeah, thank you for 100k, like, what's going on? I was going like 10,000 followers a day. And then by February 24th, I think I had about 410,000. So it was like, I mean, there was days where I was gaining like 33,000 followers in a day.
Insane, isn't it?
Yeah. So it was like just, and clearly I had hit this algorithm and just rode the wave. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I knew in my head that I had to ride the wave while I was there to keep growing. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I was pressuring myself to, you've got to upload 4 times a day. And I was uploading, and the thing was, they were doing well. I was uploading 4 a day, and they were all doing like 500,000 each, 600k, 700k. So I was like, damn, there's obviously a market for this. There's obviously there's an audience to this. Yeah. So you've got to keep going. But like I said, the risk around with that was I was getting to that point where I was starting to burn out again, and I was like, I'm just going to detach myself. I didn't want to do that. So I just thought, take it easy, because you've built the audience now. You know, now we're at, you know, like I said, going on 1.3 million followers. It's growing well, and it's only going to continue to grow at the end of the day. But at least I know I've got a good foundation now, where I don't need to rely to 4 or 5 posts a day and try and, like, you know, burn myself out to a point where I don't want to do the content anymore. So yeah.
Do you think that? Do you think it took control of you though, or do you think it does?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because
yeah.
it's one of those weird things, isn't it, where it's like, I don't know. I guess you can class this as your job anyway, because it's your job, right? You're you know, fresh athlete. You're a sponsored athlete, and that's what you do as a job. So actually, that's a big part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the same time, do you feel like it controls you a bit?
So obviously, there's definitely a pressurized feel to it, in sense of, you know, like, I think with the content game, especially with me, is because of like my discipline with it now. I will never let a day go where I don't post. Yeah. But I'll have like really bad days, you know, like we all do. Have like a rough day. It's like my creative mind's gone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, because it's just
sat there, and it's like sometimes I'll get to 2 in the morning. I'm like, and I physically will not allow myself to go to bed. So I've uploaded. Could be knackered. Do you know what I mean? I've had the worst day, could be anywhere, but I will not allow myself to do anything until I've uploaded. And it's just like, God, man, like trying to get it under control, especially now, because obviously you're pressurizing yourself with you know, because you want to grow, but additionally now the pressurization comes from, you know, you've got sponsors, you've got people that are now relying on your social outputs, so you need to maintain that social output and maintain an active audience to be able to sell the products for your sponsors. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it all ties into one.
But do you think do you think if you didn't do that day, do you think that would?
I look at it like that straight away.
So you think that's you?
I don't think that's me.
Do you think that's more of a discipline act?
I think it's maybe more, I'd say it's more
because it doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if I didn't upload for one day. But the way I look at it is, if I didn't upload tomorrow and then uploaded on whatever day, you know, let's say I just get a 24-hour break and I lost 10,000 views because of that. That's 10,000 potential followers that I could have kept from just a bit of consistency. Because I find that the more you post, just the more you tend to float around the algorithm. Do you know what I mean? The less you post, the less they will push your content. At least that's what I find with TikTok, is the more that you post, the more you become prominent on people's For You pages. And so the more that you get consistently seen. What I find, which is weird about TikTok, is following doesn't mean anything. You can have 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers, you can have 2 million followers. it will not push your videos to those followers.
No.
It pushes your video to a For You page. So 90% of the time, most people that are viewing your videos, I mean, you know, I want to say out of my following, like I said, 1.3, the most active time for my following is about 9 p.m. in the evening. I've got about 480,000 active followers online at that time. But if I post at, I find my best time to post is midnight to 1 a.m. You'd think it'd be 9 p.m. But I've tested it, you know what I mean, through trial and error, because I've looked into fine details. Like my best time to post is 100% midnight till 1, because for some reason it seems to be it's the best time where that kind of west coast of America is getting off work. My biggest audience is America. So even though my most active following is 9 p.m, which is probably UK based, actually the best time for me to post is really late, just because a lot of America gets off. And they watch my content. Is what it is.
And that's the thing, is it's clever to listen to that.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to, especially if you're like, I mean, cause who you work with,
Silverback and
AB.
Nutrition,
Yeah.
So I mean, and it's going good. It's like, one thing I've noticed is like, I have a huge American fan base, like huge. So out of that 1.3, like 66% are American, USA based. So you know, it only leaves 34% to be covered by the UK, Europe, and Asia and stuff like that. So. Yeah, massive US following. It was interesting when I went to LA. Like when I got to Los Angeles, I got recognised like a few times, within the first couple of hours being there, and I was like, there's no way, like what is going on? But, if you look at the breakdown by kind of state as well, like Los Angeles, like I have like a 9% of my followings from LA.
Yeah.
So and when you put that into perspective, that's like 100,000 people.
Yeah.
Like 100,000 of my following is from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So it was like no wonder I was getting recognised a lot out there. But yeah, it's just crazy. It's just been a crazy kind of journey. The last 6 to 7 months been nuts. Going to Turkey, like I went on holiday the other week, got on a transfer to the hotel, got on like a, like they put into like a little coach lay-by where they stop to get refreshments and stuff, like as you're on your way to the transfer to your hotel. So we stopped at like a lay-by, we got off to get some food and stuff at like 2 in, and I get off at this little random like hut where there's food and drinks, and the guy serving the food knows who I am. He's like, oh my God, he's making off TikTok, blah, blah. I'm like, there's no way. Like, I've been in the country an hour and a half, it's 2 in, and a random guy in the middle of a Turkish road knows who I am.
Yeah.
I said, this is nuts, do you know what I mean? So, it's crazy how the reach is. I think that's one thing that TikTok could put above any other social, is the reach is insane. It's insane. Like, I might have 1.3 million followers, but like my best month has been like 300 million views. Do you know what I mean? In a month.
Fucking insane.
So the reach of TikTok is insane. And that's what I mean by I don't think that follower number really means anything.
Yeah.
I think it's more just down to how consistent you are and how often you output content. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where you're going to constantly bring in a
and
fresh
also
view base.
how different your content
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
Because let's be honest, I mean, I put a lot of content out that people need to see. But it falls into boring sometimes, and that's the thing. But you know what it is, but I can't come away from that, because actually the people that are consuming it need it and want it, and that's who I am. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And that's why I don't know if you've seen the Joe Schmo stuff recently.
Yes, I have.
I mean, he's just about to meet Barbie in a few days. I won't
in the week.
Do you see that? Right? But like it's things like that, and that's why I have to throw them little bits in, isn't it? Just because I try and be, I want to be serious because I know it's important, but I also struggle to be serious for too long, so I like to be funny. It's getting the difference between the two.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So who take back to your sort of like earlier years and stuff, like what did you do and who like?
Yeah, so I suppose, I mean, when I was like young, I mean, from kind of 11 until 17, 18, I just studied kickboxing for years, loved kickboxing, and then as I got a bit older, I mean, when I was 18, I had my first son, so that was kind of why I stepped away from like kickboxing, anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Really?
How did that feel?
Everything I was doing.
The age of 18?
I mean, you always get told, don't you? Put a lid on it. Do you know what I mean? Never listen, though. So, but then again, let's be honest, who listened to that?
No.
But if you are watching this, you should definitely listen to that. But when I was 18, I was just So my missus got pregnant, and I'm still with her now, 12 years.
Good.
Got pregnant when I was 17. She gave birth when I was 18 to my son Oscar. He's 10 now.
It's crazy. So you got so I've got a 7-year-old.
So I'm 28.
You're younger, and you got a 10-year-old.
And I've got a 10-year-old, and I've also got an 8-year-old. I've got 2 boys. And obviously, I think, as dumb as it sounds, a lot of people view young parenthood as like, oh, you've wasted your life, you've wasted this, you've wasted that. I actually disagree so much, and I say that because there's this allure and there's this kind of, people look at it as like a lifestyle of, oh, well, when you're young, you should travel and do this and do that. And I get it completely. But the thing is about being young is 9 times out of 10, you ain't got much money.
No.
You just haven't got much money. So actually what you find is a lot of the time these young people are in debt from uni and whatever, and they're living a lifestyle through uni funding that they actually haven't got. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
no, I agree, yeah.
But regardless of that, a lot of people think you waste your life when you have kids young. But the thing is, I had my son when I was 18. By the time my oldest son is 18, I'll be 36. I'll be in a much better financial place than I ever would have been when I was 18, 19, 20. I'll be much more stable, and I'll be able to travel and do a lot more things than I would have at 18, 19.
Yeah.
So I might have done it the wrong, the other way around, but I actually think this way around is going to benefit me more.
Yeah.
Be more
but
mature.
you also travel a lot now, don't you? So
I mean, yeah, there's exactly, and that's the thing with this line of work, isn't it? Is there's a lot of travel involved now, but like just having that free time when when I am in my mid-30s with my missus, where we can go and travel and enjoy the world together. It's like, I don't view that as a bad thing. Plus, the one thing having kids young has done for me is taught me how to be a man very early on. Do you know what I mean? And to be a provider, because I suppose that was the one thing, like being 17, 18, where I was growing up, was I was a bit of a knob. I think most 17, 8-year-olds are. And I don't mean that offensively to anyone, like I don't. But the one thing I remember being when I was 17, 18 was thinking that I was the man and that I knew it all. And you don't know fuck all.
No.
You don't know shit.
I remember being 16, going around town, maybe even 15, I don't know, and wanting to start on blokes and wanting them to start.
Imagine.
It's just, it's ridiculous.
You just get absolutely paved. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but at the time you think you're that. You do. It's like now, like I get 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds DM me, and they talk the most. And I just think, if only you knew. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if only you. Like I wish you had that knowledge now.
Yeah.
To see how stupid you sound. And that's why, like when I do get like soft trolls like message me, I just entertain it, but not in a nasty way. I'm just like, love you, bro. I just keep saying love you, bro. Like I just.
You'll get there.
It's just like, you know what I mean? But it's just it's softness. But yeah, I suppose having kids is what forced me to kind of grow up, and then additionally to that, it also forced me to have a strong work ethic. Do you know what I mean?
So
when I was 18, like I was a night manager for Asda. So I was a manager in kind of retail really young. And I was always running that. Night manager for Asda, I was in the kind of 50, 60 hours a week. I was pushing the boat out just to make as much as I could. I moved my missus and me out by like kind of 19, 20, got my own place, a nice house, moved both my kids in with us, obviously. Because we needed that space. At the time we were living with her dad, and it was nothing against him. Do you know what I mean? It was just, I'm a big guy, and like my kids, two boys, her. We just needed some space, so it's good to get out. But it really did force me to have a work ethic that I didn't know I had at the time. Do you know what I mean? Which is good, and it instilled that in me. So by the time I was 25, 26, I'd been like a night manager for Asda, a store manager for JD, service manager for Argos, trading manager for Asda again. Like I'd got myself around. Do you know what I mean?
And all the roles sound like they were always managerial.
They were always managerial. But it's because I always had a thing. And this is a little tip from me for people that do work in retail: is every 2 years you should be looking to refresh. Never stay somewhere longer than 2 years, because one retail-based benefits are nothing. There is no benefit to staying somewhere for 20 years. They cap your payment, like your redundancy payment, at 20 years. They only pay you a week's salary per year that you're there anyway. So
I remember
overall,
that,
you're not going to get that much money anyway. Do you know what I mean? So what I always say is get the money now. And the reason I say that is because when you move external, you're always going to earn more money. So every time you get a new job externally to another company, they will pay you more than they would have paid someone internally stepping up, because you're external talents. They have to pay more. So every 2 years, I would always switch job. I haven't spent longer than 2 years in any retail job anywhere, and I would always get an extra few grand every couple of years, and that was how I treated it. Do you know what I mean? And then I suppose, where do I even start here? So I've always been a gamer. Like, who hasn't been a gamer? Modern Warfare 2, good lord. Like the amount of time I put into like gaming when I was kind of 10 to 17 was astronomical. But I've definitely probably put an actual year of time in that 7-year period was spent.
See, this is crazy. Let me just say to you, right, to hear that you're a gamer and you put that much time into it, my brain goes, what the fuck are you on about?
Mate.
Right, but I know the thing is, I know it's a huge thing, but I actually don't. I don't understand it, and I will say, right, bearing in mind, like this is just my flippant ADHD. I've bought a PlayStation, a brand new one twice. I bought a 360. What's it called? The fucking Xbox. I don't even know what they're called. Look, and I bought an Xbox. I went fucking nuts and bought everything just because I was like, that whole like, let's get obsessed with it. And I never got into it. And I tried to force myself to get into it because I wanted to.
Do you know what I think
have
it
that.
Is? I think once you hit a certain age, you
can't. Yeah, mine was more adult.
And I think if you were younger in that time period of when it was blowing,
then
you
you'd
would
have
have
been
been
hooked.
just as hooked as anyone else.
Yeah.
And I think it's like me now. Like I barely touch a game now at all. And it's because I don't care for them. But
Yeah.
if you were to say to me just 4 years ago, do you think you will ever stop playing games? I'd have gone, shut up, hell no. Do you know what I mean?
I'll stop reading.
No, that's like saying I'll stop. Yeah, literally, I'll stop breathing. Like, no way will I. But now it's like I've got a gaming room dedicated. You know, I've got my free triple monitor set up. Gaming PC, PS5, Xbox, you name it. Got my streaming set up. Got like a whole graffiti wall behind me. I spent so much money on this room, and now it's like, anytime I go in there, it's like a YouTube video for
Yeah,
and then I don't go in there,
chilling, yeah.
or I go in there to use my mini fridge and get like an Abe can out or whatever I want to get out, or a beer. Do you know what I mean? I don't use the room.
Yeah. Why did you keep it? Is that just a bit of a
I suppose it's my space.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's still my space.
Do your lads use it, or is it not?
They do. My boys will go down and be like, "Can I use your game?" They've both, you know, they've got PS5s and everything themselves, but they'll be like, "Can we use your PC or use it?" And they will use it, but it's just, I suppose I'm not ready to let go of it yet.
No.
Even though you know,
Little baby.
like it is, yeah, it's like my baby, but I was always a gamer. Like,
I tell you what, I did get into it was when I was in the army, which is ironic because you're doing the same thing anyway. I got into Modern Warfare, which is the one that had the best maps. Is it number 2?
Modern Warfare 2 was like 2011.
I remember it. The one that I got into was like it's apparently known as the best one.
It's Mod 2.
Is it? Yeah, and I fucking mate, I got obsessed. I did
incredible.
get obsessed with that.
It was incredible.
But then what I tried to do, right? I tried to revisit this years ago, and I just couldn't.
Mate, I was playing it last week.
Really?
Yeah, because they've turned the servers back on. So I went out to CEX, bought an Xbox just to play the old CODs.
Yeah.
Because you can't play it on PS5. So I was like, I've got to
Right.
experience it again. But like gaming for me was always something that I loved. And then I got kind of in, I suppose 2018, 2017, I got a little bit involved in like competitive COD. Which is
Yeah.
like, you know, because really...
You get paid for that, don't you? Like,
Get paid. We're talking serious dough.
Yeah.
We're talking, you know, minimum salary. Minimum salary for most of these COD players is like 55, 60 grand a year.
Yeah.
Minimum, yeah? And that's the low.
Crazy, isn't
That's the low end. Like we're talking, that's like a bench player. And the higher end, we're talking like, you know, 250,000, 300k. Some of these players, and these guys get paid. And bear in mind that this is just salary. This doesn't include like player bonuses.
yeah, if you win and all that
This
sort of
doesn't,
stuff.
yeah, this doesn't include your sponsors that you've got and the money that you're going to get off your personal socials and growth and whatever it is that you do. This is just a set salary of playing COD.
Makes OnlyFans look like kids
Yeah.
play.
I mean, but, you know, like I was always into COD. Loved COD. It was my favourite game ever. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get involved in it. So I started streaming and was streaming on Twitch and like streaming my gameplay. But I probably started streaming when I was already past it. I wasn't as good as I was. Do you know what I mean? So then I was like, well, what other avenues can I do and what can I look at? And then I looked at like Pro COD as a whole and I was like, well, maybe I should start a podcast because it looks like it's got a good audience, but there's not a lot around it that covers it, especially like the amateur side of people that are coming up through COD. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do that. So I started a podcast like early 2020, probably like January. Yeah, it was like Jan 2020, mid-Jan. And I started this podcast and was just kind of freeballing with like people that, you know, I didn't know, I had no idea who they were. They were just small followings on Twitter or you name it. And I was like, let's have a conversation. And it grew like an audience quite quickly, I suppose. It was quite cool because people just like, you know, likewise individuals that liked the game and just wanted to see what it was about other people that made them so interesting and that played it. And then about 3 weeks after it starting, I literally secured like, I suppose the best way to look at it is like, imagine the strength world, you've secured like Eddie Hall or Ronnie Coleman. It was like securing that level of a guest. I secured him 3 weeks in. I got Hex, who's like the guy that owns Optic Gaming. And I was like, there's no way. I was like, has this happened? And he made me realise that actually like one thing I've always been very good at is quite an intellectual. Don't want to like, you know, toot my own horn here, but I you know, might be shit at most things, but I'm very good at English, literature, reading, writing, poetry. You know, I can write you a song in 5 minutes. I'm not joking. Like I swear to God, I'm very good at writing, very good at poetry, very good at talking. I used to write CVs, like, and charge people like 20, 30 quid for a CV. Do you know what I mean? So I've always had that. And I noticed that actually that ties over very well to speaking and then building context and conversations and questions on the go. Do you know what I mean? So I would prep podcasts and I was just like, I was good at it. So I carried on. Before I closed out 2020, like, and this was like through COVID, like I had like a top 100 UK Spotify podcast for Ledger, just through that gaming. And I was like, but what happened was COD started to die. And then because I was losing that love for gaming, I wasn't so committed to like, you know,
learning new bits or...
The thing is with gaming, mate, all these guys now are like 18, 19, they don't really have a life. And I mean, I don't mean in a bad way, but they have no life experiences. So when I get them on, I go, right, so tell me about you before gaming. Well, play basketball for a bit and then I go into COD. Yeah. It's always the same story, do you know what I mean? There was never anything. And so I started to lose that love and passion for that and I came away from it. And then I mean, Among Us. There's a game called Among Us that came around like mid 2020. It's like blowing up, and I just took off with that, mate. Like my Twitch just went crazy. I was playing like the biggest names in the world on there, like day in day out, and again got super committed, loving it. Was making really good money on there. Like I won't say it on here, but very good money on there, and was like killing it, and was like, wow, this is insane. Kept going, and then it, like same again. I just started to get burnt out, and I've noticed what with me is I will always overdo something to a point where I don't know when it's getting unhealthy.
Yeah.
Like I was working nights at the time. I was a night manager for Morrison's. I'd go to work at 8, finish at 7:30 in the morning, get home for 8, stream for 4 hours, 3 hours till about 11 or 12 in the morning because a lot of my audience was American, so they were still awake. Then finish, go to the gym at midday, train chest for 2, 3, 4 hours, whatever. Not 4 hours, like 2, 3 hours. Then get back home for 3, half 3, get in bed and be up for 7 to do it all again. And I was doing it every day for like 4 months. And it was growing crazy. It was growing insane. It was definitely, that could have been a career choice for me if I'd have pursued it. But I just burnt out and stopped doing it. So, you know, I have dabbled in a lot of things. I mean, even, you know, we can look into a darker side here, I suppose, is, you know, one of the things that I don't tell a lot of people about is I used to have a severe gambling addiction. Severe.
Really?
Yeah, and it happened through COVID. So what happened was I stopped streaming gaming. Then when they closed those gyms and I wasn't gaming anymore, I was like, fuck, and I was just desperate for something. I think the thing with me is once I've got a hold of something, I'm good, as long as I've got something that I know that I can fulfill consistently. But when I haven't, like when gyms closed, I was lost. I was like, oh, what am I going to, like, you know, it's an output, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's such an output, and when that's gone, I was like, what am I going to do to kind of fulfill that dopamine rush, fulfill something? You know, I've got to find something. And I remember my colleague at work was playing slots one night, and I've never been one to gamble. I used to put a fiver on the footy like every other weekend, like anyone else, but never played a slot or anything. And I was watching him spin these slots, and I was like, that's colourful. It looks fun. I was like, what are you doing? Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, ooh, colours and spinning. I was like, what's happening? And he's like, yeah, I was playing this game, and I watched him win like 20 quid on a fiver, and I was like, I'll have a dabble. So, you know, you put a tenner on, and I put a tenner on, and I guess I kind of kept it really basic for a while, where I wasn't going too bad, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. Oh, you know, this is fun kind of thing. I wasn't losing really any money, you know, no more than kind of 30, 40 quid a week, which was, you know, affordable. I wasn't noticing it going.
Yeah.
And then, about January 2021, I started to get a bit cheeky with it. I was doing like, you know, probably 40 quid a day now. Getting a bit bad now. And I'm spinning.
Is that putting on or losing?
Putting on, yeah. Putting on. It's losing probably a lot more. Do you know what I mean? Because I was putting it on, but barely winning. But then I started playing roulette. And I'll still say it to this day, because that's how delusional I am, even though it's not possible, I am the roulette man. And I know it's not possible because it's statistically proven that the odds are in the casino's favour because of the zero. The zero puts that board immediately in the casino's favour of odds. So even if you go red or black, you've never got a fair chance of winning because there's a green on the board. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the odds are always going to be in their favour. But I genuinely believed I had mastered the roulette table. Like, no, true, genuinely, I had convinced myself I had a set sequence. I'd always go second 12, second 12, third 12, second 12, and it would land over and over and over. So the first,
that's just luck, isn't it? Yeah,
pure luck. But in my head, it was absolute confidence. It's just luck. But in my head, I truly believed I cannot lose. So first week of Feb 2021, I must have won like 12 grand, 10, 12 grand was up. I was like, oh, this is easy. Like, well, I'll just do this forever. You know what I mean?
Was everyone's problem?
You know what I mean? Like, I can make a living off this, no problem. So I'm like, yeah. And then I was winning, like, you know, excessive. So I actually remember this is when I knew I had a problem. This is when I started to realise. I was waking up at like 9 in the morning. I'd wake up in bed, day off work, I'd turn over, get my phone from under the pillow. I wouldn't check no messages or check anything else. I'd go straight to Bet365 and start spinning roulette as I've just woke up and be like. But I was getting out of bed like a grand up. Before I got out of bed, I'd be up a grand. Yeah. Like, oh, I'll go back to start the day, you know what I mean? And then get down the stairs. But then the problem was then, and this is where my crux was, those colourful slots. I'd take that grand I'd just won, and then spin it on slots, and spin it and spin it and spin it.
Because in your head, you're up anyway.
And but the problem is, and this is a gambling thing. This is especially for people that have been deep in gambling. You can be up and not be up at all. But you convince yourself you're up. Yeah. So what happens is,
is that over lifetime? Are you looking lifetime?
No. So imagine it. So you'll have a day where you might win a couple grand, right? Yeah. But but then you only withdrew 1,500 and you left 500 in, so you've only up £1.5 now. And then that 500 you span and you put another 500 in, and then you put another 500, another 500, another 500, and then you keep doing it, and you start to forget the fact that you've even put more on. You go, yeah, but I'm evens now. Like, I'm not even down. But really, you've put £1,000 of your own in and not even clocked it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That delusion, it truly does go that deep sometimes, and that's where I was. So like February 21, I think I wagered. Wagered is like winnings and my own input, where you've like won and then put it back in and then put your own money in as well. I think I wagered about 35 grand, like in like 3 weeks of Feb. And I was like, I remember checking it and going, fuck, I've got a problem, you know. But I couldn't control it, like I couldn't stop myself. I remember, this is, like I've never told anyone this, my rent was like £675 a month. And I'd been going and going and going, thinking, it's all right, I've got money in my bank, I don't need to check it. And this was for February's rent payment. I was like, I'm 10 grand up. I mean, that's the delusion. You're up, you ain't gonna worry. Like, even if you haven't got the 10 anymore, you've still got a few. Like, you're fine. You don't need to worry about nothing. So I remember going and going and going, and then I was getting texts off Bet365 saying, "We'd like to speak to you about your gambling frequency." And I remember them sending me an email, and there was just like statistics saying that like I was in the top 0.0001% of their users for deposits and for time active. So I was thinking, fuck. And then I was getting them like alerts where it says, you know, I knew it was bad when I was getting gambling session alerts, because you get a reality check that says you've been gambling now for an hour, would you like to continue, yes or no? I was getting them on the 10-hour mark. You've been gambling for 10 hours, spinning slots for that long. It was so bad.
So that's constant, yeah?
I couldn't stop. But what happened was, I was getting these notes and I was getting these notices, and then, you know, I was convincing myself I was up. And then the one day I checked my bank, I just remember looking at my bank. I was like, fuck it, I'm see how much I've got. He's like, £320. I was like, 320? I was like, I haven't even paid my rent. I physically can't pay my rent. I've gambled my rent money. I was like, am I right? And my missus sat sitting next to me, and everything's like happy as day. She's got no idea. Like, she knew I was gambling, but she had no idea. Because I'm really good at hiding that shit. Do you know what I mean? I was, and not only that, but like I've got that like kind of confidence. So I'm like, I'm fine. Like, trust me. Do you know what I mean? Even though mentally I wasn't very secure on that, but I'd tell her like everything was good. And I was like, Jesus. So like I remember putting that 320 on, being like, I've got to gamble it to win my rent back.
Otherwise you're out anyway.
So I'm spinning it. It goes down to 60 quid. I'm like, so I took the 61 on roulette and followed my sequence and won like 800 and then got out of there. I was like, I've got it, get out, got off. I remember, and then I went straight on GamStop, which is like the gambling union where you can sign up and it immediately bans you. So I put all my details in. I just remember pressing, and the thing was, it was such a battle because I felt sick doing it because I didn't want to, because I was so addicted to it. I loved it so much. You know what I mean? Even though I knew how bad for me it was, I couldn't stop. But I remember pressing go and I blocked myself. And I was like, yes. And now, you know, but the worst thing was, this is how bad the addiction was, right? Get this. I banned myself from gambling, got the GamStop activation saying you're now actively banned from gambling for 12 months. You can't come out of that, do you know what I mean? Like, you have to write to them and give them a very good reason as to why you'd like to gamble again, and they're never going to lift it, do you know what I mean? Because you blocked yourself for a reason. But I remember doing the GamStop, going in the kitchen, making a coffee, coming back in, opening my phone and trying to go on Bet365, thinking, why can't I fucking gamble?
So you'd already forgot.
It'd been 5 minutes, thinking, why can't I gamble? Like, that's how bad it was. But I mean, I remember looking through like Feb, and I went through all my statistics, and you know, all in what wagered and lost, I probably only lost about £3,000 of my own money, and realistically, it could have been so much worse. So I got out of there very lucky, considering I won a lot back. Do you know what I mean? And I won a lot back. So yeah, just that was that again. That's like that sign of that addictive personality, where the moment I found something I enjoyed, I was like, okay, this is that thing that's going to fill that. You know,
I'm going to diagnose you right now with ADHD.
Possibly.
all the like little traits that like basic, and then the fact that you fucking went into a different room and like forgot about that. All of a sudden, bang!
Like so bad. I literally sat there because I was like, why can I log on? I was like, I'm pressing it, and I was thinking, I get my password wrong. I know my password, so I'm pressing sign in, and then it came up. It gave me saying you are currently, or you know, you cannot log into this account. I was thinking, oh, I've just blocked it. Of course, no wonder I can't log in.
Reason.
And then, but the worst thing was then I started searching other casinos. I was like, well, I wonder if they've blocked my Ladbrokes here. I was like, let's go to Ladbrokes.
So then it just disperse out to all of them? Is that what it does?
The moment you do it,
because obviously it's quite a severe thing.
Every account you've got with any UK regulated casino, immediately you can't access.
Yeah.
So the moment and it does it with your address. Do you know what I mean? So
yes, it's actually you.
It's your address as well, so you can't use any of your details to sign up. And the problem is when you try and use anyone else's details, because trust me, I have. you have to link your card. Do you know what I mean?
of course.
So the moment
There's
you
no
link
way
your card,
through,
bang,
yeah.
it's gone straight away. Because I remember thinking, I know a way around this. So I said to the missus, "Ma'am, like, what's your email?" And she was like, "Well," I was like, "I'm just signing up to this site for something." She didn't know it was gambling, but I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll use hers." Banged her on Ladbrokes, and I got an account, and I must have been paying for an hour. And get this right, they gave me a deposit bonus like Ladbrokes did. I remember putting like 200 quid on, and they gave me like 300 back in free play because it was like a big deposit bonus. So I had like 500 balance, and I'm like, "Yeah, I can do 5 spins. Fucking, let's just go mad." I thought, I don't know how long they account for, so win what I can. So I'm spinning away, and I'll get this bonus. It pays me like $4.5 grand. I'm thinking, yes. And I go to withdraw it, and it says, "No, sorry, your account's been banned."
Oh,
because
so that you
the
can't
PayPal
even
was
get
under
that.
my name. Well, I just that's how stupid.
Course, so
they gave me the
links
money back
you.
that I deposited.
Got you.
Do you know what I mean? I kept the winnings and closed the account. So,
But just the fact that you've seen it and you
so
can't get it out.
yeah, but so that's been. I mean, it's been kind of 2.5 years now. Do you know what I mean? Since I had that, like, and now, like, I do still gamble a little, but it's so mild.
But do you feel like you're in control of that addiction?
So
as
one,
such?
I when my GamStop ended, that 12-month period, I started it again for 2 years. I went straight back on and GamStopped again because I thought I'm not going to risk it. Do you know what I mean? I don't want the opportunity to be there that I can touch it because I'd rather never have the opportunity to. So now what I do is, like, I've got a few mates, and then if it's a Friday night and I'm feeling frisky, I'll be like, "Listen, can I send you 40 quid? And do you mind if I spin it on your account?" And the thing is, I've got good mates that'll go yes and no. Do you know what I mean? Well, some mates will go yeah, and then if I lose the 40, message them again, they'll go fuck off.
Yeah,
No chance.
but that's
you're not.
good, isn't it?
And it's
Yeah.
good, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
even they know that, we know what you're like, pal.
Yeah.
So it's like, that I can't lose more than 40 quid a week now. Do you know what I mean? I literally can't because they won't let me. So it's good like that. But yeah, it was rough. It was a rough period of life because I was hooked. Loved it.
Yeah. I just want to stop the podcast for a second here, just to mention Silverback Gymwear. These guys are sponsoring the podcast, and I want you to know how good their quality of clothing is. And they've just launched at the moment the new women's brand, so jump onto their website, have a look for could be a wife, could be a daughter, could be a mother, whoever you want to buy it for, or it could be you if you're a female watching this and listening. But please go and check them out. Their quality is really, really good, and they've got so many different colours and different designs to choose from.
I'd say I wasn't up until I went to Los Angeles. So when I went to LA, I had no intent to gamble out there or anything like that. Because I don't think there's any casinos in LA itself. You have to drive just outside the county.
Oh,
I
really?
think. Yeah. So I've always been one for networking. I think for me, networking is like huge. If you can network well, then a lot of time you can build relationships and build next steps in your career and stuff just through relationships. You know what I mean? But for me, networking is key to anything. Like, no matter what the opportunity is, where it is, I always take it. Do you know what I mean? Just because I think it's good. So I always, when I was gaming and when I'm streaming, I used to speak to a lot of people, and I used to outreach, and I used to stream with some big names. You won't know them, but like Courage JD, Banks, Karina Koff, like XQC, Trimax. These mean nothing to you, but these are
but they're, like you
huge.
said, Eddie Halls.
We're talking 5, 6, 7 million followers on Instagram, like, kind of people. Like, they're huge names out there, and all this networking pays off in the end. It always does. That's how I see it. So while I was out there, my last night, a guy called Adam hit me up. Adam Bomb, he's my friend. I always used to stream with him. He's American, and he was like, "Yo, I'm back in LA. Where are you?" And I was like, "Well, I leave tomorrow evening." And he's like, "Yeah, what are you doing tonight?" I was like, "Nothing. I'm just in my room, like, kind of thing." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, come to the address, come to the Airbnb." I was like, "Yeah, cool." So he sends me the address. It's 3 minutes down the road. What the fuck? There's no way. I was like, "What?" And he's like, "I was like, are you in Encino?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm in Encino." I was like, "Yeah, are you on this?" And we're on the same boulevard. We're on the same street. I'm like, what are the odds of this? Do you know what I mean? So I drive down. It's a mansion of, like, serious, like, watching a film measures. It's a mansion, marble floors, marble,
and that's
marble,
his?
everything. No, so it's Karina's.
Right.
So it's ridiculous, man. I'm walking in there, I'm thinking, I do not belong here. Do you know when you have that feeling?
Yeah.
And then I walk in there, and, like, there's Austin McBroom, who you won't know who that is, but there's a YouTube channel called The Ace Family, massive channel, like, 11 million subscribers, huge, massive fan base, and it's just like a lifestyle channel, like a family lifestyle channel, but Austin's the dad. So Austin's in there, and then Austin's here with, like, a couple of guys, and then it's Adam and me, and I'm like, I walk in and Austin walks up, he's like, "Yo, nice to meet you, I'm Austin." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Josh Bittenhead." I'm thinking, I fucking know who you are, dude. Like, what is going on here? But it was, I think that was a situation where I was like, "Yo, I feel so out. Like, what's going on here?" Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
like
I think
imposter syndrome.
another time I felt like that was like with Larry. When me and Larry hit that session in LA, and then we went for lunch afterward. I was sitting there with like Larry, Mike, who owns Fitness Mania, like Larry's manager, and Ryan Benson, who owns Team Zero Gravity Fitness, and they're all talking business and this and that. And I'm thinking, how much is this steak going to cost me? And do you know what I mean? Like, that's where my head is.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we got there, obviously we went to this place, and Austin goes, "Yo, should we hit the casino?" And I'm thinking, I ain't got no money, mate. Like, what? We're in the casino. I'm thinking, number one, we should not hit a casino because I am an ex-addict.
I'll be here for a week.
And two, but in my head I was thinking, you know what? I've only got $200 left, so you
Spend
know,
that,
here's what it
done,
is.
sort of thing,
Yeah, because it's not like I'm getting any more money out. So I thought, okay. So then I was like, well, I don't really want to spend the last of my money. And then Austin said to me, and it was like, oh, you guys haven't got to bring no money. Like, I'll give you guys some money to play with. And I was like, what? So we get there. I watch this guy just take out 20 grand in front of me. Just takes out 20 grand in chips in front of me, like nothing. Just beep. Just takes it out of his little LV pouch. Gives the woman this card. She gives him 20 grand in chips. I'm thinking, what the fuck? Like, what am I doing here? And then he gives me 500 to play with. And gives Adam 500 to play with. And he's like, what do you guys play? And I said, listen, I'm a roulette guy. He said, I don't do roulette here. I said, okay, then I'll play whatever you play. I'll just follow you. And he goes, I play Baccarat. No, I've never played. I've never played Baccarat. I have no idea how the game works at all. So I sit down and I'm watching him. Now, I can already tell from an addict that he's an addict. Yeah. Oh, he's an addict. I'm watching him. This guy's like booking. He's like, and he thinks that he knows it. And I could tell he had the same delusion I had with roulette. He thinks he knows the game. He knows. So I'm watching him do it, and I'm going, right, do fucking opposite of whatever he does. So I'm going opposite.
Was that your plan?
That was my plan. And the thing was, it kept landing. It kept landing. So this 500 I turned into 16 grand in about 4 minutes.
Fucking hell.
In about 4 minutes. And I'm sat there. But bear this in mind, at the time, I don't know that this money's mine.
Yeah.
He's intending to let me keep all of this. We didn't know this. So Adam was up a few grand, like, you know, we're all up. And I'm sitting there 16 up. And I'm thinking, might as well see how much I can win him, kind of thing.
Do you, at that point, think, shall I get out?
If I knew it was mine, I'd have got out immediately, because that's where I am now. I'm much more mature with it now.
Yeah.
You know, I've come to LA. It's a sponsored
only
trip.
gonna spin out
It's a
anyway,
sponsored trip. It's not cost me a lot, and I'm going to leave $16,000 up. Do you know what I mean? It's a win-win, isn't it? But I spent, you know, I put some more in because I didn't know it was mine. So I got down to about $13,500, and then Adam's gone, bro, leave it there, man. Take that home. And I looked to my left. I'm like, what do you mean, take it home? He's like, bro, that's yours. And I'm going, no, like, is it mine? And Austin's like over there, and I'm like, is this mine? He's like, bro, trust me, that's yours. So I'm like, okay, I'm out. So I sit there, and I'm out, and I'm thinking, okay, let's just chill. Like, don't, you know, don't freak out or anything. Just chill. So I'm like, there's no way I've just won 13.5 grand. You know what I mean? Like, out of nowhere, just off nothing. So I'm sitting there, and then, you know, like, Austin's, this guy was up like 40 G's. He was up to 60, then he's down to 12, then he's back up. This guy's got problems. And not only that, he was walking from table to table. So he'd go from this table to that table to that table to that. He was active in the whole room.
You don't do that really, do you? You stick to the table.
I stick to where I am, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, I said to him, like, yo, he goes, bro, I'll cash that out, man. It's yours. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, it's yours. I was like, what? I was like, you don't want some of this back? He's like, nah, bro, I gave you 500, man. That's yours. I was like, there's no way. I was like, do you want the 500 back? He's like, nah. I was like, yo, I know this doesn't mean a lot to you, but this is huge, bro. Like, you've just given me an incredible, like, I shook it, and I was like, oh my God, like, thank you so much. You don't even know me. I mean, you've just given me a lot of money, man. So I remember walking over to the cashier window, and obviously I wasn't a casino member. I'm from the UK, so I've given the chips. I'm like, can I cash that out, please? And she's looking at me like, okay. I just remember counting the hundreds, and I'm looking at her like, is this real? Is this happening right now? And I remember feeling like a bad man because she gave, you know, like when they put that green wrap over a 10k wad.
When you know you got the top.
She gave me the wad of the wrap, and I was like, I just want to slap myself. Someone, you know, I was like, this is real. Yeah. I was so gassed. There's no way this is real. And I remember trying to put it in my wallet. I was like,
it ain't going
what
in.
a stupid idea was that? I was like, where am I going to put this money? I can't walk around with like a wad of cash like I'm 50 cent. Like, where's it going? So I remember trying to pull it in my wallet because obviously I had $3,000 loose as well in hundreds. Yeah. So I'm trying to stuff it in. And in the end, I just like crunched my wallet like that, like a V with a wad that
held it
and stuck it in a side of my cargo, closed it, and then I let my hand didn't leave. It's like, it was such a surreal feeling because I remember getting back in the car. Bear in mind that the car we drove there in and left in was his Rolls Royce Phantom 4x4. I think is it a Phantom? I don't know if it's called that, but let's just say it was a 4x4 Rolls Royce. It was all white, red interior, crystals in the roof. You know, all them. And I was like, what the money?
That's why you gave that money.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But believe me, my hand didn't leave my pocket. And I remember getting back to the mansion, and everyone was like, right, we're going to head to bed. And Adam was like, cool, bro, love, nice seeing you, man. I'm off. And obviously, I went and got back in the rental that I had it there. And I remember getting in the driving seat and going, yes! Because obviously I had all that. You know what I mean?
Held it all in all that time.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because I was like, obviously that gambling addict in me was like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes! So I got in that car, and it's like 2 in the morning. I was screaming in the middle of some like boulevard, and I just remember getting back to my room, and I was like, oh. I was thinking, you know, like my head went into hyper mode. I was like, what if someone breaks in? What if the people who own this Airbnb come and take my wallet? I was like, I hid my wallet under like 3 pillows, inside a pillow, next to me on the bed.
No one's moving me.
No one's touching anything. Yeah, it was such a... So, overall, I'd say I wasn't up until I won that in LA.
Really? So that was your
and
tipping point.
that's put me up. Do you know what
And
I mean?
also, I guess that's a nice little, like a good story to finish on, isn't it, for you in your head?
Yes,
to be saying, like,
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
That's insane. Honestly, I have never, ever gambled in my life.
Really?
Like, yeah. I have never done... when I went to America, we went into one of the casinos just to see it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Had a drink, just to have a drink in there. And I stood behind a table of Chinese men that fucking knew what they were doing. And I was just watching them for a bit, thinking, that looks well cool. Do you know what I mean? And that's the closest I ever got to
one thing
it.
that, like, even in that casino, because I've never been to many casinos. I've always been, like, an online gambler.
Yeah.
But when I was up in there on that baccarat table, I had like 4 Chinese people behind me, just like
Chinese are
and they were leaning over, going, "Go, you go!" Like they were telling me to go again. They were like, they were happy for me, and I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." And they were like, "Oh,
no, I'm scared."
They were like, "Go again," and I'm like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm keeping this." They were like, "No, go again." But they are so passionate about it, mate. Like it's like when I say there was a table in the middle, they were screaming. Like every time a certain card would land, they were all screaming, jumping, clapping. And I'm thinking, this is like, I know I was an addict, but I'm glad I never got to that. Do you know what I mean? Because that's insanity.
Beyond.
Yeah.
But they got the money, don't they? Like
they have. Yeah.
You can see by looking at them, you know.
Yes.
They're up.
It's always funny because you always look at them and they're wearing like some brown sandals, like some cargo pants, and then they've got like just
Rolls Royce.
That's it. Yeah. Literally, they're just loaded, man. Insane. So yeah, it was good.
So let's talk about because there's a few things I want to like dig into, because I know you get a lot of hate on, and it's how I met you, I guess, the whole natty side of things. So you've got correct me if I'm wrong, 305 bench, and you know there's people that can't even fucking deadlift that. Am I right? So you can't deadlift that.
At the minute, I definitely can't.
I was going to say, I remember you saying actually something about that, yeah. So, but, you know, the people that can't even deadlift that, and then it's like, you've got a fucking crazy bench. The most I've benched, I mean, I'm not proud of it, but 190.
It's a good bench.
I mean, but I don't bench, so I'm like, I'm happy with that. But anyway, you know, it's an insane bench, and you obviously do a lot of training videos and stuff, and you're obviously a big guy. How heavy are you?
At the minute, 180 kilo.
Yeah, I want to say that, yeah.
So you know, very heavy at the minute.
But you've never took gear until now, or you?
So I started gear. What day is it today? Tuesday. So Thursday coming will be 3-week mark.
Yeah, because obviously that's where we met when you were going through your testing.
The reason I did that was because I wanted to get pre-bloods done to see where I was.
Yeah, of course.
To understand what my test levels were naturally.
Yeah.
So just to get an idea. So yeah, my test was low, like an 8.1, 8.2. So really low end of that spectrum of, you know, like natural tests. And then my vitamin D was like super deficient. My B complexes were down. Just kind of shot in a lot of areas. But the good takeaway was like, you know, everything else health-wise was good. You know, I'm not pre-diabetic. I'm not suffering with like organ issues. My liver looks healthy. Things are good. So that was a good takeaway. But another takeaway was clearly my body fat, and not only that, but like my lack of like vitamin D and actually getting outside and stuff like that was kind of very much hindering my test. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, I am coming on 3 weeks in, and now so originally I need to do an update video on it. So I've not increased the dose or anything, but I've changed the amount of pins that I'm doing. I'm just going to really specific.
So are you microdosing? Is that what you mean? Or?
I don't even know what that means.
So are you putting it in different times of in the week?
Yeah,
or?
twice a week now.
Got you.
Yeah. So originally I was going to just do 1 mil shot in once a week. Do you know what I mean? Every Friday was the plan. And then I was speaking to Dan Ryhoff, who's he's one of the best benchers on the planet. One of the best athletes on the planet, especially for body weight.
Yeah.
And additionally to that, you know, he's also a genius ultimately when it comes to his stuff. He's got a master's in biochemistry, I want to say. So,
Yeah, maybe you said
know,
that,
he's very smart. And Dan sent me some graphs and showed me the breakdown of how test actually has a short shelf life in terms of once it's in the body, do you know what I mean? And after the 4 days it tends to drop off and you start to see lows, do you know what I mean? So he said actually what you should be doing is pinning twice a week, you know, halfway through the week you pin every 3 to 4 days, and then that way what happens is you maintain the highs and you have less lows, and that natural level of nanograms in the blood kind of increases. I was like, okay, I'm with you.
But it gives you a good baseline, does it?
Gives you a better baseline, yeah.
I actually go like for 4 a week.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Obviously when
a
like,
lot of people do,
and stuff.
I suppose so. Yeah, so week 1 I did 1 pin, and then last week and this week I've done 2. I pinned this morning, literally, and then I'll pin again on Friday. So that's what it is at the minute. It's a Tuesday morning, Friday morning, Tuesday morning, Friday morning, and that's how it's been rolling for me. And I suppose the best way to put it, they don't feel any different yet. I tell you what, I do feel sex drive is fucking stupid.
Yeah, you should notice it.
That's stupid, mate.
I seen you give me some
wall.
eyes earlier. You gave me
yeah,
some...
I could do that wall now, no problem. And then additionally, just like, do you know what, I feel 17 again.
Yeah.
I say that in the sense of, and I don't know if maybe if it's just me, but over the years as I'm getting older, I still have it, but not as much. But I don't wake up with that morning wood that's like you could knock someone out with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could. But like the last week, mate, every morning I wake up,
it hurts. Yeah.
I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like, what's, you know? So that's the main notice I've seen. The main difference I've noticed. So far. I don't feel like I've had any strength benefits yet, but at the same time, I'm only 2.5 weeks in. I'm not going to. Do you know what I mean? I suppose in another week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I'll start to see some strength differences. But I've seen nothing yet. But yeah, six years of training, I've been natural. I've never took anything.
So how do you, obviously, because you get a lot of hate of people saying, "Oh, you're not natural," because obviously the numbers you're hitting it doesn't add up, does it?
Yeah. No.
How does that? How has that always played on your mind? Because you know, just from me knowing you in the short space I've known you, you're a very positive person. You're very no fucks given sort of thing.
Nah, I suppose there's 2 ways you can always look at it, isn't that? It's oh well, are you discrediting what I've done? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or there's a way of, are you complimenting my work ethic? It's one or the other. Do you know what I mean? It's how you choose to look at it. And admittedly, I've looked at it both ways lots of times. Do you know what I mean? Because there is a selfish side of me that goes, how fucking dare you downplay what I've done? Do you know what I mean? And credit it to something else. And at the same time, it's, you know, it's good that I've got to a point where people suggest that it's not possible what I've done.
Yeah, so you've pushed the limits, haven't you? Yeah.
The way I always have to remind myself in my head, or at least, you know, when I was, you know, not, you know, when I wasn't taking tests, when I was natural, was I would say to myself, they haven't seen what you've done. People will see one clip. It's okay. People see one clip. People will see that 305 kilo and go, I don't know you, but I can tell you that this is impossible naturally.
Yeah.
But what you haven't seen is the 6 years of 3 bench sessions a week where I've done 40, 50 volumes of bench press a week for 6 years. That's what you haven't seen.
Yeah.
You don't know the amount of discipline and work that's gone into that. You have no idea. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you will judge it based off 1 6-second clip and go, that's not possible. It's not possible in your limitations, not mine.
Yeah.
Your limitations are not my limitations. I will take it the extra mile that you won't go. Do you know what I mean? So
it's like that picture. It's always powerful, isn't it? The iceberg.
Yes.
Where you see the iceberg and underneath you see the. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like you truly do not understand the work I've put in. Do you know what I mean? And you don't. And it's like, bench has always been that lift for me. Like God, I just love it. Like when I say I love bench press, I truly love bench press. I think about it, I dream about it, I walk around my house doing the motion. I'm honest to God, I do. And I'm sure like there's in with strongman, I'm sure there's like a form of love for that as well, where you'll find yourself like constantly. But like with bench, I will walk around the house like sometimes I'm just like, and I'm like, you know, I'm not going through the motions. I don't know why I do it, but I just do.
But that also plays into that mindset of visionary stuff, doesn't it? Like at the end of the day, you're living it that often. That's why you become good at it.
Yeah. And you know, I get how hard it is to believe. Yeah, you bench 305 naturally, but at the same time, it's like if you just Google basic records, people have benched 305 naturally, tested. Do you know what I mean? It's not impossible, and people have done 305 naturally, tested at a lighter body weight than me. So what makes you think it's not possible?
If someone is around, if you're around an environment where it's mediocre,
I think that's what, and I think it's like, it's all about, for me, I'm massive on this. So one thing for me, and I always preach it, is manifestation is real.
Yes.
Now, when I say manifestation is real, a lot of people, especially people that don't understand the sentiment of it, or lead a very basic lifestyle, and I mean that in the sense of they don't have any pressure on themselves. They just survive day by day. People look at, when I go manifestation is real, they go, "What if I say this is going to happen?" No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
What I'm telling you is, when you usher the words into existence, when you don't let it be a thought anymore, but you let it be vocal, and you say, "I am going to do this," you say, you put, what happens is, I think subconsciously, you begin to make small lifestyle decisions and changes that ultimately lead to that goal. And it might not happen for a year, but in a year's time it will happen, and you'll go, "Fucking hell, it's happened. What has this happened?"
And it's because of that.
And little did you know that you've been slowly taking the right steps in little paths of life over and over and over and over, because you put that into existence. And subconsciously you knew that was the end goal, and you looked at the ways that you could get there. Do you know what I mean? And just because you're not actively thinking of it 24/7, you voiced it, and it's something that you know you're ultimately going to do. So it's just about getting there. And I think that's what I think manifestation is, voicing something to a point where you have no choice but to believe it. Do you know what I mean? Because I think self-belief is the biggest thing for me. Like, you can't achieve anything if you don't believe it. You forget convincing anyone else. If you can't convince yourself, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks anyway.
We've all done that as well, haven't we?
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
absolutely.
We've all pretended that we think we know, and we don't.
Yeah.
You know, and then you know that feeling, and then for the people that have pushed themselves to actually do the thing that they said they couldn't do, then you also know the difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, obviously, you know that whole saying, "Fake it till you make it."
Yeah.
I think what you're saying there is that in a nutshell, isn't it? Like, fake it till you make it, right? Okay, so you can talk about faking it until you make it, but actually, that whole manifesting sort of period is a completely different level, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and I think people don't do manifesting or they don't manifest and don't believe that sort of side of things because they don't do it long enough, and they don't believe it's actually possible.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like, have you ever done the whole like talk in the mirror sort of side of things as well? People think that is fucking crazy, so they go, "Well, that's just stupid. Why would you do that?" Well, that's why you stay where you are.
Yeah, because believe it or not, there's two versions of us. Yeah, there's a subconscious mind, and people just look at it as, what I ever say is my output. That is it. You have to train that subconscious mind to be the proprietor of those thoughts. You genuinely have to take control of it, because if you just allow thoughts to seep in and allow self-doubt to be present, what happens is it creeps into every walk of everything, and so that doubt becomes present regardless of what it is that you're doing. Do you know what I mean? You just don't have that commitment. Whereas me, it's like, you know, like when I've said I'm going to go and break a world record in bench press, people are looking at me like, "Shut up." No, you're not. You're nowhere near it. You've been benching with wraps on. You don't bench raw all the time. Julius is 50 kilo ahead of you, 60 kilo ahead of you. And to that I say, fucking watch. No problem. Like, just watch. Because trust me, I have no doubt. I 110% believe that I will break a world record in bench press. There's no doubt in my head. And not only do I believe that, I think my kids and my kids' kids and my kids' kids' kids will tell stories about me. I'll have a legacy. I know I will. I know that. But it's because I don't have any room in my head to believe otherwise.
Yeah,
there's no self-doubt. I don't have none. I truly don't.
Do you think that's part of your like obsessive trait?
Possibly,
because it falls into the same path, doesn't it? Like you set that goal, like you say, you walk around the house bench press in the air. You know what I'm saying? And it's that thing, isn't it? When you're living it and eating it, sleeping it, shitting it, as you want to call it, then it becomes you. Yeah,
it does. And I think, you know, it's like a lot of people view it as arrogance, like I said earlier. I think people view this as arrogance. Like my self-belief is almost too overpowering for them to understand it, and so they view it as a form of arrogance. It's not that. It's just I truly believe in myself. I truly believe to a point that I can't fail. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no room for it.
Thing is, I'll say to you as well, and I mean this in every sense I say it, I believe it for you because of how you are as a person. Do you know what I mean?
I know I'm going to do it.
And I don't mean that to suck up to you. That's because actually, like, you don't talk shit. You're not talking shit, and you can feel when someone's. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? We can all say, I'm going to do something. You know. Yeah. But you actually talk it and believe it.
Yeah. But it's like, obviously, like 9 days today, I'm flying out to Florida. I'm going to Florida. I'm going to.
Is that for Julius as well?
Yeah. So me and Julius are going to be hitting an expo in Tampa Bay. Me, Julius, I think CT Fletcher's going to be there. TD Smash. You know, there's going to be some serious benching units in the building. Now, obviously, I'm going there because it's a huge content opportunity. But the main reason I'm going there is so I can watch Julius bench.
Yeah,
That's it.
Have you ever been in person with him before?
No. And like for me, it's like Julius has already said to me, because me and Julius have been speaking in DMs. He's like, you know what? When you come out, we're going to look at you, and we're going to see what we need to tweak. Do you know what I mean? So it's like in my head, there's no one better to go and learn from than the best. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's the best.
How's that feel to you to be with him when he is the man?
Fine. Good.
Because obviously, when you said earlier on,
just makes me more
no,
hungry.
of course, and that's positive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because like when you said earlier on, obviously seeing him, I was thinking, okay, so do you guys get on, or and that's obviously amazing to do that. But naturally, you think that hold on, he's your enemy.
I think there's just I have like such a level of respect for him, like because I know what I've had to do to get here, so I can only perceive what he's had to do to get there.
He's jumping on top of you,
yeah.
Because what is the record?
So he's done 355 kilo in comp, and he did 361 to a comp level in the gym.
Yeah.
So he's done 300 and I want to say 95 pounds in the gym. He's close to that 800 pound mark, man. Really close. And he's coming to a point where I personally think at the moment he's coming to a peak where he's been building, and he's pretty close to a peak now. I think another month or two, he's got 800 pounds in him. Really? I really do. I think he's going to.
And how old's Julius?
I want to say he's about 34, so he's about 6 years older than me.
Yeah.
So that's where I'll go. Time's on my side.
That's promising, isn't it, for you?
Time's on my side.
Yeah.
And not only that, but because I've only just started gear.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot to come. Do you know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Now I don't know anything about Julius in terms of when he started gear. There's rumours, and I've heard it from good sources.
Yeah.
That are big in the game. I suppose is that he hopped on around that 700 pound mark. So he hopped on around 315, 317 kilo, and he was natural up to that point, and then he introduced PEDs and so on. So, I feel like we've had a similar trajectory in terms of that strength output. Now, Julius has always benched raw. I haven't always benched raw. Raw is something that I'm having to introduce a lot more and get used to. And, would I say my raw press is currently where my wrap press is? No. But my wrap press is... I wouldn't say significantly higher at all. And not only that, but these PR wraps that I use now by Larry, these wraps they're not super strong. You know what I mean? They're quite flexy. They're almost like wearing a good sleeve in a sense. You know what I mean? So it's getting a lot closer to raw for me, which is good. I'm really getting myself used to that. But it's like I said, like people are like you've never done raw. You know this. It's like all of this is just it's just
noise.
It's more food, man.
Yeah.
Like no problem.
Yeah.
No problem. And I think...
Why do you think you've got that, such a powerful, positive mindset with that?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I don't want to say to you that it doesn't affect you, because I'm not you, right?
Yeah.
But to me, it seems like it literally doesn't affect you.
I can't really. I think...
But it must affect you, right?
No. I don't really. Do you know, in a sense it does. Shall I tell you what I don't like? I don't... Like, when I started, like, coming out more in terms of my lifting and getting seen more and growing and stuff... There was a clear disdain to me from a lot of like powerlifters. A lot of powerlifters just didn't like me. Now I've never done anything to them. Never. Do you know what I mean?
What do they not like about you?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I've heard comments from different people, or from mouth to mouth, and that's the thing with this as well. Is it's always mouth to mouth. You know what I mean? It's one from one to another to another to another to then me. So who knows what was actually said? But whether it be that I'm a shit bencher, or I'm this or I'm that, or it's not real bench press and this, etc. Because it's not all following commands and pauses and you name it, and it's not that perfect powerlifting technique.
Cool story.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I get it, and I get what you're saying,
kg.
but this is how I look at it, and I don't mean it in a condescending way, but to me it's just jealousy, and the reason I look at it as that is, if you've dedicated 15 years of your life to powerlifting, and all you've got to show for it is 2 medals, and you're still working fucking 50 hours a week, and that's it. Are you mad because I make more money than you do from a passion, from something that I love, that you've put your life into and you've got fuck all to show for it? That's not my fault. Like I said, I've committed myself and then put myself in a place where I can turn this into a lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? It's not my fault you didn't choose to do that, and I think that's where a lot of it comes. I think I get a lot of hate because I've kind of just came out of nowhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think they're like, what the fuck does he deserve all this kind of thing? But it's like I said, people don't know what I've been doing for the last 6 years, 7 years. Do you know what I mean? Might be funny, but my level of grind was different to most. Like I said to you earlier, I was balancing working 12-hour night shifts, going home, streaming for 4 hours to make a second income, and then going to the gym for 3 hours and then sleeping 3 hours.
Trying to stop an addiction.
You know what I mean? Like people have no idea what I've done. no idea the lengths I'm willing to go to provide and to actually get something that I want. So that's why.
But do you feel like you've been to your threshold in what you're capable of as well? Because what you've just said there, taking on all that and doing all that, is a fucking lot.
Yeah.
But you still haven't been to your threshold, have you?
No. I can't explain how excited I am. It's like I know I'm years away from my world record, but it excites me. I swear, like it gets me like very giddy because it's like I know I'm excited to put that work in. Like, let's go, let's just watch this journey. Like, just watch me do it.
I'm excited for you, man. Like, just in the short time I've known you and what I see of you and stuff, it's something that, and like you say, like, let's fuck all the people that want to talk about different things. You've just jumped on cycle now. Do you know what I'm saying? And also with the support you got behind you and everything that's going to be coming up, like, it's just going to be insane.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I think, credit as well to Mike. So Mike Rabb, he's a powerlifter in the UK. Mike's in great shape, man, and he's super strong. And Mike doesn't get anywhere near the kind of recognition he deserves. But again, it's like I'll say to Mike, do you put yourself out there? Do you know what I mean? I think that's the thing with a lot of these powerlifters is they don't put themselves out there. They're very strong, very good, very disciplined. But they're very disciplined at just that one thing. They don't expand themselves and go, well, you know what, let's see what I can do here with this. You know what I mean?
Explore different avenues.
So it's one thing. So I always gripe at Mark for his, post a TikTok, post this, post that. Stay active, keep your name in people's heads. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't let yourself fade away. Because Mike is so strong. Guy's got like a 955 kilo total, or 75 at 106 kilo body weight. So really impressive. 106 kilo.
Fucking hell.
So super impressive total.
That's my body weight.
Do you know what I mean? Super impressive total. 240 bench, 370 or 80 squat, and 340 or 50 dead. So really good total. Do you know what I mean? Got a good total.
And is that powerlifting spec as well? So like, raw.
All powerlifting. Yeah,
nice.
So he's really good, but it's like, why does no one know who you are?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it bothers me, and that's why, like, what's this about Mark? I'm like, you deserve to have a platform. You deserve for people to know who you are because of how hard you've worked to get this.
Yeah.
You've got to put yourself out there more. But like, I'm becoming more of a credit to Mike because like Mike's teaching me. When I was like, it's mental. When I was benching, one thing that happened with me, and I suppose this is where a lot of people struggle to believe I was natural as well, was I had a very quick growth period. So through maxes, as in I put like 40 kilo onto my max bench in like 4 months.
Yeah.
And at that level, at that top end, it's like, what the fuck? The reason though is because for like 2 years, like since gyms reopened, all I did was bench twice a week. And when I say volume, I mean I've got the app on my phone. I can show you the workouts that I saved from like late 2021. I was doing like 32 sets of bench press in one session, and 20 of them were 4 plates for like 6 to 8 reps. Like, I was doing insane volume, and look, trust me, a lot of it was garbage volume. Absolutely, a lot of it was volume that was doing me no benefit at all. But the reality is, I was putting them reps in. I was getting them reps in. Do you know what I mean? I was doing serious amounts of volume, and I was priming my body to a point where it was so used to that now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was so used to that volume, so it was just like coming through. And I think for 2 years I just benched but didn't max. For about a year and a half, 2 years, I didn't test the max.
So you were building a big
I was building, and I wasn't building knowing I was at the time. I just loved bench pressing. I just loved doing it. It was just a passion. But I always benched in like a leisure centre and a commercial gym, so I never really had like the facilities around me to max too much or to push it. And if I did max, it was like overloading with a slingshot, so I'd put like 250, 260 on with a sling, or 270 and use a slingshot. And I never took it deeply serious in terms of like a competition thing. It was more just a personal love of bench press. And then about November, December, October, November, December, about November, I started to push the bar out a bit. I thought, let's just see where I am. Do you know what I mean? So I remember benching like 260 in the village gym, and I was like 6 pace, and it moved well. It moved okay. And I thought, like, maybe I've got more. Remember, like a week 2 later, 2 weeks, maybe did 265, and I was like, okay, maybe I've got a bit more. So I was like, let's try 270. So I tried 270. I remember getting 270, and then I got introduced to Mike, and I remember going to Foundry in Chelmsley Wood, and I was like, and Mike was like, well, how are you feeling today? And I was like, I'm just going to send it. And, having people around you and that confidence boost and that atmosphere, and knowing that you're with good people now and you're safe, I was like, more confidence. So then I sent 280 and got 280. I was like, what the fuck? And I remember Mike saying to me, like, if we put you on a proper comp bench with a Texas power bar, you're going to bench more. I was like, what? Because I'm naive as fuck. I was like, about power bar? He's like, a Texas power bar? I'm like, what's one of them? Do you know what I mean? Well, what's the difference between a bar and a bar? A bar's a bar to me, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd always bench on these shit whippy bars in commercial gyms.
Yeah.
And he was like, trust me. So I remember we go to Dino's gym. I'd done 290 just before we went there. I'd done 290 in Foundry Kings Heath on a normal bar. And I was thinking, like, we'd tried 300. I'd attempted it like 6 times. I couldn't get it
On them bars, yeah.
Yeah. We found Kings Eve, found Champs Wood. I attempted it on these bars, 3 times, in a session, and 3 times in a session. You shouldn't even be trying 300 kilo 3 times a session, but I was just so like,
You knew it was close.
I had to get it. And I remember just being like, Mike was like, let's just go to a gym with an actual setup, with a good bar, and let's just see what you can do. Do you know what I mean? Let's just see. So I remember going to Dino's. I remember thinking, this is a cool gym, and that bench is, the bench was cool. It was thicker, it was wider, and the bar felt different. I was like, oh, this feels nice. And I remember going through the plate, plate by plate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it was moving. I'm thinking, this is moving quick. This is different. Like, I feel so much more stable and in control of the weight. And I remember putting 7 plates on. It moved like I could have repped it. That 7 plate bench, to this day when I watch it, I'm like, I could have done 3 of that. I could have done that for free. Like, genuinely, I could have. So it was nuts. But that's a credit to Mark just knowing the basics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it shows how naive I was in that space. So that's why when a lot of people go, well, like, how did you grow it so quick? It was more out of just tweaking and understanding little bits. Like
after doing all that prep work,
after
really,
doing
wasn't
that,
it?
you know what I mean? And it was.
And,
It's like, I think my big people are like, this was a stupid session. I remember this. My biggest ever volume day was 40 sets of bench press, and I did 28 sets of incline, and 25 sets of that 28 were 180 kilo for 4 to 6 reps on incline.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine how my elbows were the next day? But that's what I was doing. I was that stupid because I loved bench press, but I didn't know what the end goal was. I mean, I just loved doing it. But I just loved it. I just loved doing it.
Yeah.
So I'd always be like, let's push myself today and see how many sets I can do. Little did I know that's such a bad idea. Do you know, well, why you did that many sets? Because it is just waste volume. You're not doing any growth after that. You start to just do more damage. But I was so obsessed with it. So it's good now to have Mike who's kind of reining me in and saying, let's program, because I've never programmed ever. I've never followed a program for bench pressing the whole time I've benched. So we don't know what my body's like once it's primed and then put in a position where it's time to now bang go. I suppose the hardest thing for Mike that he's like having to understand as well is that obviously I'm also content based. So I do a lot of dumb shit.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
yeah.
I do the 1-arm presses. I do the clap bench press. I mean, that clap bench is the arguably the riskiest thing that I've ever seen anyone doing lifting. But
it's just cool as fuck.
It's just cool as fuck. And it's fun.
Yeah.
Because I know it sounds dumb, but I have still got that childish mentality. With that.
What did you go up to when you did that clap?
155 kilo.
Fucking hell.
On incline, yeah. But the thing is, I can do a lot more. Like, we know I can do more. And the thing, and it's like an excitement thing. Like, when I lie down and I do it, I'm like, oh, I can do more. Let's put more on. And it's obviously, it's such a stupid movement. Like, I don't encourage anyone to do it at all. But a lot of people think it's about power. It's more technique. It's just technique.
No, it is. It's catching the timing and stuff, isn't it?
It's about, like, I build torque. So, like, I literally build torque, like, whipping the bar. Because I'll pull down, so I'll go bang. And
work against it,
and I'll pull it down. So as I pull it down and it bounces and whips, as it goes back up, I'll throw it as hard as I can. So it goes up and then I clap and catch it. It's all about literally using the physics of it, do you know what I mean, to do it. But we know that, like, I could probably do it with at least 170. Like, I reckon I could get close to that 4-plate realm of doing it.
You know, when I've watched you do it before, I was thinking, should I try it? And then I was like, nah, fucking won't try it.
Listen, everyone that's like meets me goes,
I'd have to do it.
I could try that. I'm gonna try that.
I'd have to do it with like bands set up to catch.
Mate.
I'd have to get I don't know, some like blocks and stuff to catch.
Yeah. So Mark's got a massive bench. Mark benched in the gym like in wraps on 275 kilo, paused, like really good bench. He's 107 kilo body weight at the time, so huge bench press for his body weight. Super strong bencher, but like Mark will lie down on incline with just the bar and go, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I will admit, I did it the other week.
Yeah.
I did it with the bar, and I was like, that's enough.
Yeah, because he's just like, nah, I'm not doing that. No way am I doing that. And it's just a fear thing. It's not because you're not strong enough.
No,
it is just a fear thing.
I just think injuries, but
yeah. But you know what's stupid? I guess again, it's that level of delusion with me. Is I don't see any risk in it. Do you know when I lie down under that bar, I don't consider the idea that it could go wrong. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, get the camera going, and I'm boom, 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 done. Clap, catch it, put it back, and I'm like, but I suppose it's because, as dumb as it sounds, I've mastered the movement. I know when to release, and I also know if I'm not going to get it, because there has been times, it's trial and error. I've never let go, still thinking I could get it. If there's any doubt, trust me, I'm not. Then you're not going to do it. Yeah. I only ever let go when I go, yeah, that's moving quick enough for me to clap this. I know it is. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then I'll let go. So a lot of people comment on them going, what do you do when you fail? And I go, well, we yet to find out. We yet to find out, because I haven't failed yet, because I won't let go if I know that if there's a small inkling, I won't let go. But 155 the other week, the only reason I didn't go higher was because I knew I was going to LA.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's just in the back of your head.
I shouldn't have even been doing that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I stopped at 155 because I knew I had to be careful. Why you doing it in the first place?
That's sometimes some people's all-time best ever. I'm not bench.
Yeah.
So what is like next for you then, man? Like, where? I mean, obviously you're going to LA, Florida. No, where you going?
Florida. Yeah.
You're in Florida soon to obviously see those. I can't wait to see the content.
Yeah.
With them
yeah,
guys.
excited. I mean, I've got some. I suppose for me at the moment, one thing I do really enjoy is content. I love content. I love talking. I don't know if you can tell.
No. To be honest, I never knew, mate. Yeah.
I like speaking, and I like I said, I like networking, and I love collaborations. I love stuff like that. So, I've got a collab coming up with Luke and Tom in Inverness. Can't wait to drive there. That's going to be fun.
What's that for?
I don't know. Just going to be a content collab. You know what I mean? I think we're just going to do a YouTube video, probably some bench press. Obviously, I think one thing that's happened in the last couple of months is that bench press has opened up a bit more in the strongman world, hasn't it? Because of the Shore Classic. Yeah. So with the Shore Classic introducing a pressing variation, I think it's going to be a standing press, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's built something for.
I'm not going to lie. I think I could go there and win that.
Really?
I'm not going to lie. Do you know why? Because that standing press that you see in them all practice on, I've done like 300 plus kilo one, no
is
problem.
It a jammer? I'm thinking the jammer is like a standing press, isn't it? Or is that something slightly different?
It's the one I'm seeing them stand on. It's got like 3 poles here, and then it's got like a long pole that feeds to a leverage load at the bottom.
Yeah.
So the weight's behind you and you push, and it kind of comes forward.
Yeah.
At least that's the one that I know Brian Shaw has been practicing on, and a couple others. But they've got one of them in Foundry in Newcastle.
I've actually seen one before. It's a bit of an old school. Like,
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're weird machines, really weird to fit into as well. That's one thing that surprised me was I was thinking, how are these dudes that are massive fitting into these? Because I struggle to fit into them. Like, it's weird. You have to get someone to push it forward to start with, so you can actually get in because of the stretch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I can do a lot on that. Like a lot.
It'd be interesting to see.
I mean, I know I can do a lot. I'm sure. Like, I'd love to see someone like Julius go. Because if Julius went there, mate, he'd everyone just look at him like that.
That's the thing, isn't it? Though, like obviously, if someone like that was to do that, it would just be a different game.
Yeah, it is.
Like for a strongman to do bench is quite a big thing anyway.
Yeah. But do you think? Do you find there's a good? I suppose it's a good question for you. Do you find there's a good carryover from anything strongman related to bench?
Yeah, strict log. So when I did my 190 bench, right, I wasn't benching.
Yeah.
Right, I did a strict log phase. I actually did it specifically to test it out. If I'm honest, I'm not your friend with bench. I hate bench.
Yeah.
Right.
Why?
I don't know, honestly. So earlier on where you're saying I love bench, bench. I hate it.
No way.
Honestly,
do you like squats and deadlifts?
Squats, I was obsessed with squats once upon a time. I'm not really a fan of them nowadays.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, deadlift, obviously I love deadlift.
Yeah.
Deadlift's my best lift if you want to go across the static stuff. But yeah, but the carryover that I had from strict log was the reason I hit a 190 bench.
Yeah.
However, I want to break the 200 bench at some point.
Yeah.
Do you know just because it's that number, isn't it? Like it's just let's break it.
Yeah.
But it has got. I think that's the only one that has got a carryover for bench. But has bench got a carryover backwards? I don't think it has.
I think it has. Do you think? Yeah. So the reason I say that, then again, though, I suppose.
But it's the skill aspect of what it would come over to.
I think pressing movements in general all have the potential for a small carryover.
Yeah,
obviously
it has to. I
think because I've done so much incline over the years, and because I love incline so much, because I am an incline specialist, definitely, like, very good at flat bench, but, like, I'm going to put it out there, I don't mean this in, like, an arrogant way, there's no one in the world that can do what I can do an incline. No one else can clap 155, no one else can 120 kilo for reps, like, I am an incline specialist, do you know what I mean? I'm very good. That movement, for me, is the most natural feeling movement. I just love it. Once I lie down on an incline bench, I'm like, I'm at home. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is me. And I couldn't be more confident in that moment of anything that I'm going to do.
Really?
I love incline, love it. So I suppose with incline, it will have a carryover. I didn't do shoulder press for years. I only recently got back into shoulder press really recently. I'd say like just before I went to Los Angeles, kind of recent. It's only been a couple of months. And like we tested it, and like straight away, like day one, I put up 5 plates on the shoulder press. So it's like 220 kilos straight up. So it's something I don't do. I don't do dumbbell shoulders. My week split kind of looks like this, and this is how it's always looked. I'd hit back twice a week and chest twice a week.
Yeah.
One would be like a heavy flat day working up some singles and volume. The other one would be an accessory day with incline, and then I'd just hit back, which would be like heavy rows, high rows.
And that's
lats.
really just an accessorize
For the bench press. So it was always a bench focused week. It was never anything else. Do you know what I mean? So it was never kind of shoulder press based, but it shows for me that at a minimum there's a carryover from incline at least. There has to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I suppose it's just because of that degree change that, you know, front delt, a lot of front delt basis, and obviously it has some carryover. But yeah, it's like shoulder press for me. Like I can probably shoulder press about 235 kilo at the minute, so I'm like seated on a barbell, so, and I've got that there, and it's never been something I've focused. Like I say that, you know, if we go back 3-4 years, I was doing like pin press, shoulder press, you know, because I always found that was really good. I always liked that, so I'd always do seated pin press from a dead, from about there, and just go and explode. And I actually I think that's one of the secrets to my explosiveness and incline is pin press. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'd use it. Well, typically in strongman, you'd use it where if you're struggling with a lockout for a log press, because it's that second phase. Yeah.
So I actually think that weird enough, like, because I used to do both. I used to do pin press from chest height and the pin press from about there. Yeah. And I've found like that. I think that's had a really good carryover for incline that I didn't know it did at the time. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like Mike said. Well, when Mike watches me flat bench, I've got a very explosive flat bench. But watching me bench on incline is a different world. If you watch me bench live on incline, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Do you know what I mean? Because it's like I move it like it's not there. Yeah. Anything up to 5 plates, I move it like it's not there. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm just like, boom, boom, boom. It's so explosive. I just have this like pure aggression with incline, and it's weird because I can't, you know, on flat I can bench quick, but I can't bench like I can on incline. I can't bench that fast. So there has to be a form of carryover for it. I suppose with strongman, like, because when I first got into the gym, like I dabbled a bit with strongman. I did like local stuff, you know, like a couple of local comps, like Wigan's Strongest. You know, it wasn't like a district led or council led. It was like a gym comp. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Stuff like that. And you know, messed around. I remember doing Samwell Strongest Man. That was that was the first humble for me, where like it was an experience. Because you know, like I remember getting into the gym thinking, yeah, I'm quite strong. But obviously, it's so funny because I was like so stupid. I was like training the ledge centre that was like literally like 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds. Like it was a small ledge centre, and I was like, yeah, I'm the strongest in it. I'm that guy. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? I'll just do a strongman because I'm obviously going to win that. Oh Lord! Like
was there many movement events?
So I tell you what it was. The guy in the gym, Chris, was like the trainer. Chris was like, yo, Samuel Strongest Man's coming up, like, you know, it's up in all the gyms, we'll sponsor you for it, just go and do it. And I was like, yeah, shall I? I was like, Now, I'd always watched strongman. I've always been a fan of strongman, but never considered myself being someone for it. So I was like, you know what, maybe I will. I'll go and do that. You know, he was stronger than me, Samuel. You forget, I mean, Samuel's a big place, a big district, a lot of people. So I was like, all right, yeah, sound. So I remember turning up on the day, and there's a guy called, like, Tom there. I'm like, right, mate, he's like, he's Welsh. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I've travelled from Wales. I was like, what the fuck's going on, man? Like, why are you here? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like, go away. This is my ends, brother. So I'm thinking, why are you here? And then I remember there was like, right, so event one was, now bear in mind, this is how delusional it was yet again. I barely deadlifted at all at this point. I think the most I ever deadlifted was about 330 or 340 on a trap bar. Yeah. Which, you know, trap bar deadlift, you know what I mean? It wasn't a lot. I think most on a barbell was probably 300. Yeah. Was it 300? Yeah, and it wasn't even a lockout. It was like a soft lock. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was bad. So I'd never focused the movement, but I was like, yeah, sound, man. Like, let's rock up. And bear in mind that deadlift was after this. Like, that wasn't then. Back then I was. So you weren't even. Back then I was probably deadlifting like 5 plates. Probably deadlifting like 5 plates. Probably squatting like 4, if that. Do you know what I mean? And like, yeah, my bench was alright. I probably benched about 180 at the time, but for some reason there was this delusion that I was going to go there and win. I remember turning up, event 1, car deadlift, sound, let's go. So like, I watched some dudes that look big, and I'm thinking, yeah, like big dudes, let's see. And they walk up, and a couple of dudes go and try it. They don't even move the car, and I'm thinking, why haven't they moved the car? What's happening there? It's
quite heavy, like.
It's heavy. I was like, sure it's not that heavy. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you're just a pussy. You know what I mean? So then I walk over there, and I remember putting my straps on, because obviously car deadlift, it was the
Front handle.
Front handle.
Yeah.
So I'm like, sound. Is his car not moving? I'm like, but immediately my brain went to the defence of, it must just be too heavy for all of us. So I looked to my right, I'm like, are you? And he's going, ding, ding, he's repping it. And I'm going, fuck. Straight away, I was like, what have I done here? Do you know what I mean? Why? Because it's a live audience.
Yeah.
It was on a big fair on Sandwell County, Park, Sandwell Valley Park. It's a big audience, there's a couple hundred people there. I'm like, fuck. What have I done? Why have I done this? Who do I think I am? Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? And I had
reality check.
Reality check. So I remember the rest of that day, like, we had to do a medley, which was like a duck walk, sled pull, sandbag carry, you name it, kind of thing. I did all right at that. Probably won that in a sense. But it was the only thing that I won, kind of thing, or like did well at. Do you know what I mean? Everything else, I got absolutely obliterated. It was so bad. Log press, sound. Thought I was the big bad presser that I was. Came up.
Was it a max or a rep?
It was rep. It was log for reps. 120 kilo for reps. Came up, got it for 2, put it down. Nope, done. Can't do any more. Everyone else was getting like 6, 10, 12. Sound, Jesus Christ. So, like, I mean, I'll tell you one thing they did mess up with, mate, was last event of the day was a tractor pull. It was like a 7.5 ton tractor. I weren't like nothing massive, Should be able to run with the thing, at least now anyway, do you know what I mean? But they put it on the gradient, so that it was slightly uphill.
Yeah.
Couldn't move it.
Happens so often, man.
Not one of us moved. Not one person.
Track tyres, well, obviously, like knobblies.
Literally, mate, massive. Not one person moved it. So obviously, that was the only event that made me feel a bit better, because no one did it. No one did it. But I remember on the day, it's like, fuck me, because my mum came to watch me. Spent the day with me. People there were like, yeah. Like, obviously, I'd ask people to come and watch me because I was like, I'm going to win. Yeah. And I remember at the end of the day, there was like an open stage, and they called everyone up, and they were calling names, and it was like, in 7th place. I was like, I had to walk onto this stage and stand there. I was thinking, I don't want this picture. I'm like, can I just go? Yeah. But I needed that. Yeah. I'm glad I had that. Do you know what I mean? Because that was when I was like 22, and I was thinking, you know what, I'm the man here. No, you're not. It's like now, and I'm glad, because that lesson carries over to now. It's like, I bench 305. I'm not the man. Yeah. I'm not the man. There's dudes out there stronger than me. There's anomalies everywhere that don't even have social media that are strong. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of strong dudes out there. Do you know what I mean?
What do you think of bodyweight stuff? Because obviously,
look, I mean, this is that.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
It's a tough subject. I looked at it as this, and I suppose we were having this conversation the other day. So, what's his name? Is it Kirill Sarachev? Is that his name? The old powerlifter. He benched like 345 kilo. Right?
Don't know who this is.
Yes. So I want to say his name's Sarachev. Benched like 345 kilo. Right? Benched it at a considerably lower body weight than what Julius has benched 355 in comp.
Yeah.
Oh, it's more impressive. Not to me. Now, I think that what happens with this is anytime you ask a bigger guy, the bias applies because you're a big guy. And I think anytime you ask someone that is a pound for pound lifter, the bias applies because they're a pound for pound lifter.
Yeah, that's the sport they're in. Yeah,
and I think that's how it's always going to be. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I look at Mike. Mike's my training partner. Mike, like I said, incredible total. I think pound for pound, he's one of the strongest dudes I've ever met, undoubtedly. Do you know what I mean? Does he have a bigger bench than me? No. Do I think he's weaker than me? No. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's a weird one. It's like, if we're talking pound for pound, yeah, of course he's stronger than me. Are we talking absolute strength in bench press? No, he's not. Do you know what I mean? If we're talking absolute strength, no, he's not. It's that subject that's always going to be a thing, because there's always going to be arguments.
That's why I always ask it, because it is a great question, and
there's always going to be arguments
loads
on
of
both
ways
sides.
you can look at it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it's like. It's like a strongman comp. I'd like to confidently say I'd beat you in it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not claiming that completely.
No, I think.
But do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And that's where like I'm in my comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
But actually, like, if we were like literally, okay, if you was to do squat, bench, and deadlift, and I was to do it, you're definitely gonna swallow me.
Don't know.
But if you were to train for it, do you know what I mean? Because quite simply, you are a bigger, stronger person than me.
Yeah. I think it's so. I used an analogy for it the other day.
Yeah.
So, no problem. Let's talk pound for pound. So and someone said, someone I had the argument with someone on TikTok, and it was like blah blah blah. This person's stronger than you, like he benched 250 at this, and I was like, okay. I was like, all right, he's stronger.
They're
than
trying
me.
to claim the pound for pound one, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, cool, and they were like, pound for pound just means more. You are stronger, you know, it's absolute strength. I was like, okay, so answer me a question, because if he's stronger than me, so if a 300 kilo weight falls on your mum, are you ringing him or me to go and get it off her? Who is it?
Yeah.
Just answer the question.
Yeah.
Because he's stronger than me, so why won't you ring him?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I always look at it as, when it comes to like lifestyle or something that you would have to apply your strength, who are you going to call? You're going to call the person that is what? You have to use the word.
Yeah.
Stronger.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's how I look at it. If you're in a situation where it's strength applicable, you need somebody to come and do that job for you, or let's say there was a job that existed that had to measure that output.
You're not going to go.
You're not going to ring the guy who's pound for pound the best. Yeah. You're going to ring the guy that can move the most weight, regardless.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why it's like, I mean, how dumb is it? I saw people arguing on socials that like Eddie's deadlift wasn't that impressive because pound for pound, like John Hack pulls more. It's like, shut the fuck up, man.
But as well, they're both fucking insane.
They're both
people.
incredible. They're absolutely incredible in their own rights. But sorry, Eddie Hall's 500 deadlift for me is the best lift ever in history.
It's just the biggest.
It's just the best. And like, you know, touchy subject I suppose, but like for Johansson, I love Thor. I think he's really cool. Do I believe he's 501? No, I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
Just being honest with you, that's me from an outside perspective. By the way, I can't stand his 501. I don't agree with it. I still think the 500 from Eddie is the record that stands.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Plus, as well, for me, like just to put my 2 pence in, Eddie went and did something that no one had ever done before.
Absolutely.
Like to
He
go
broke
and
the
do
barrier.
one more.
Fuck off.
What's the point? Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Because it's stronger. Well,
No,
all right.
it's the same. Look at my dick. Look at my dick. My
Exactly,
dick's
that's the
bigger than
thing,
your
isn't
dick.
it?
It's
Like,
just- yeah.
it wasn't like it's not a record breakers. I mean, they tried to do that with the whole television at the point of that because I think everyone was fucking bored in COVID.
Yeah. Tell you what. Speaking of deadlifting, George Live's coming up in it, Cardiff.
Yes.
Deadlift Championships.
Yeah.
I am going. Got my tickets. Can't wait, mate. Because I think. I mean, Jamal, like, it's good to have, like, names like Jamal, do you know what I mean? Like, Jamal Browner, you got Graham, who's looking strong.
Yeah.
Obviously, Hixie put a 450 up the other day, didn't he?
Very
on
good
YouTube.
as well, very
Really
good.
good pull. Who was it that pulled... who did I watch the other day that pulled 435 for 3 or 2? I think who it was. Was it Pyman? Is that his name, Pyman?
Yeah, one of the ones that has gone for the 505 before. Yeah. Ivan's obviously fucking like insane.
Yeah,
though.
looking crazy.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anyone that could take it this year?
I honestly speaking, before obviously he injured himself, I thought Bish was going to hit it last year.
Yeah.
Because he was looking insane, and it's
Yeah.
not just because he's a good mate.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely
Bish is sick.
mean it. Like
Yeah.
But yeah, Ivan obviously is just fucking an animal, isn't he? Like,
Yeah.
But with Jamal coming in,
It's exciting, isn't it?
it's just
See,
it
like,
just brings a whole new level.
do you know
doesn't
what's
it?
fun with Jamal is everything I've just said about absolute strength. Look at Jamal, bro.
Yeah.
Look at his body weight and look what he's put in. It's terrifying, man.
Yeah.
He is absolute strength. He's so strong.
I think the way I look at it, because obviously everyone says it shouldn't be happening, this, that, and the other. I just think, you know what? Let's just see what happens.
But why did I say it shouldn't be happening? Why?
I think it's all because of the whole. He's not earned his stripes.
But okay.
But
To me, earning your stripes is going and picking 400 kilo up conventional.
Yeah.
That to me straight away that goes
Yeah.
tick. I've got a stripe there.
But it's not the
Do you know what I
strongman
mean?
world, is it?
It's not. But I mean, come on. It'd be like what to me you're doing harm to the strongman.
Yeah,
world,
because you're not letting it grow. It's a bit like Larry. Like Larry got loads of stick when he did the log. Chunks that time.
Yeah.
And again, if I'm honest, I was a bit like, should he be doing it?
Yeah.
Because it was a bit like, where have you come from?
Yeah.
But you have to overcome that if you're strong enough to be there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? You
I
have
suppose,
to let it
you know
grow.
what's funny as an analogy is like I said earlier. Maybe that's a similar way that people are viewing me. Is where have you come from? Why do you get to go and train with Ariels? Why are you going to fly? Where are your stripes?
But I think the bottom line is, we're trying to grow the strength sport, right? And we're trying to say, look at this feat of strength. Well, if you're within that, why shouldn't you be?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's
exactly,
like that's for you, isn't it?
And that's
if you're touching that boundary, well, why shouldn't you be there?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing all your content and stuff,
Thank
man.
you.
And you know, thanks for coming on the show.
No
It's
problem.
been an
Thank you.
insane one.
Thanks for the
Today, I will completely hold my hands up though, because I'm like feeling a little bit all over the place because I'm 8 litres in. I'm not 8 litres in yet. I'm 6 litres in of water.
Yeah.
I've let you run the show today.
Yeah, you have.
And I completely forgot. It's my fault though to do the gift at the start.
Yeah.
So let me just pretend that this is the start of the show.
Okay.
And we at the start of every show we do a
Yeah.
little gift.
Yeah.
But no, the wall is slowly getting filled up.
I was actually looking at it earlier.
Condoms.
Who's the condoms?
Yeah, everyone asks that. Why is that
I
the only one that stands
normally
out?
it's probably going to be the question you're going to get.
Why is that the only one that stands
Because
out?
it's a condom on the wall, so you know.
And they're also still in there as well. No, you know what? It's one of my good mates. It was the first show actually. So, but I say to everyone, go back and listen to why, because I don't want to discredit his reason, because he put a really good reason of why. It was to do with the fact that he protects me in life.
Right.
So it was like, and then the compass is because he guides me in life. But I don't want to just say that because that doesn't give it. He gave a better reason.
It sounds quite smart, actually. I'm not gonna lie.
You know what? All of them have been very, very
Yeah.
smart. So
Yeah.
not to put you under too much pressure.
I mean, you have.
How well thought is yours?
So mine's it's something to me. It's personal to
Yeah,
me.
that's what it's gotta be.
It is. See that there? This whole analogy of the Grim Reaper. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first thing that I had that gave it some life. So as you can see, I'll be honest with you, that's got. When I
got
say
sweat
hours
on
of
it as
sweat,
well. It has, it
hours
has,
of sweat
it
soaked
has.
into that. It really has.
Was that your first time that
It's a
the
one
Reaper
of. That's
become?
a one of one. I
Wow.
never had any others made.
Wow.
I had loads of people offer me money for that. I genuinely did.
Really?
Yeah, loads of people wanted to buy
And you're
them.
gonna-
that.
and you're gonna let
But I
that
never.
go on the
yeah,
wall?
but this has got serious memories of me. Like that 300 kilo bench for me was like.
Yeah, let's show the camera. Which one are we? That one. It's still got sweat in it, look.
It's stained with sweat.
Mate,
But
I love that.
That when I say like that was there like 300 kilo, like everything. All my biggest lifts, all my growth, that's been there for all of it. That was the staple of it.
Was that one of your first things you got put?
When I say that has been seen hundreds of millions of times, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But it does mean the world to me. But my plan was to put it on my wall in my gaming room. But then I thought to myself, it's not fair because I don't use the room.
No one will see it.
And I don't use the room. So I thought, you know what, nah.
But mate, honestly, if you're putting that on my wall,
That's
I
right.
will keep it there,
Good.
and it will stay there forever.
Good.
I promise. And you'll always see it. You'll see it grow as the wall grows. You'll
Yeah,
see
man.
it stay there.
Yeah, man.
No, I appreciate
Exciting.
it, man.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Look.
But mate, thanks a lot for for today. It's been amazing
you.
chatting, and
good.
I've actually learned a lot of stuff about lots of
That's
different
sweet.
things. Fucking yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but you know, it's even like the casino world.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I've never seen that sort
Yeah.
of shit. I've never
Yeah.
been into it. So no, I appreciate it.
Thank
and
you.
we look forward to seeing your content as we go
Absolutely.
forward, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it.